cabinets, mattresses, bed frames, washers, dryers, stoves, microwaves, lawn chairs, patio furniture, grills, kiddie pools. Some they will not take: tires, construction, demolition materials, remodeling materials, and household hazardous waste like oil paint and bleach. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get a post like this. Bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those subscribing on YouTube. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Thursday, 12th day of March. And we got another busy radio broadcast. Want to begin by saying happy birthday to one of our sponsors, one of my best friends, former NFL star. Well, he played in the NFL. Mike Turnipseed. Mike turned 73 today. No, I'm just kidding. I'm, in fact, older than Mr. Turnipseed. But if you run into him, wish him a happy birthday. In the meantime, as I said, we got a busy broadcast. News that is spreading like wildfire. The district attorney has fired the Open Door Network, ended their contract with the Justice Family Center. Lauren Skidmore will join us live in studio coming up at 5 o'clock. I'll talk about it after I introduce the broadcast. Right after the break, we'll get you the latest on the war. There's breaking news there. Nick Regano will join us at the bottom of the hour. Day one of the Players' Championship. The fifth major is in the books, pretty much. I think pretty much all the players are off the course. We'll talk with Nick at 3:30. It's Thursday, so Mike Turnipseed will be here live in studio at 4 o'clock. Our money man, Daniel Peach, we'll talk about Social Security. As I just said, I'm a year older than Mr. Area. I turned 64 this summer. I'm starting to think about taking my Social Security. Although there is a significant difference. I was just talking about this with Lisa and Rand Dizzle down the hallway. And there is a significant difference if you wait until you're like 70. What if I don't make it to 70? It's a lot of money wasted. I don't know. We'll talk about that with our money man, Daniel Petrie. And as I mentioned, Ms. Skidmore, the executive director of the Open Door Network, joins us live at 5. And I got a ton of miscellaneous news and notes, including this anti-Semitic situation going on in Michigan where somebody rammed a car into a synagogue there. We'll give you the latest on that. And I got a great honor flight story. Has nothing to do with Honor Flight Kern County. Less just days away from our 4th annual Honor Flight Open, our golf tournament, a week from this coming Monday out at Bakersfield Country Club. But it's a great story out of Florida. They've created an all-women's honor flight. It's a great story. I'll give you the details a little bit later. But we begin with the incredible decision by the DA's office to, in a weird timing situation, to discard Lauren Skidmore and the Open Door Network. And I'm going to be blunt. You know, Cynthia Zimmer doesn't care. She knows she can't get reelected to dog catcher in this town. So she's going to do whatever she wants. So I'm going to say whatever I want. And I think this is the biggest bunch of nonsense I've ever seen in my life. We are the 9th largest city in a state that's the size of a country. That, as Mr. Newsom is running around the country telling everybody, it's got the 4th greatest economy in the world. And yet you would think this is Mayberry RFD, the way powerful people do whatever the Sam Hill they want, where you can defend a family member like this and destroy what I believe is a very, very viable and necessary arm of the Justice Center and for domestic violence and human trafficking victims. And if you just think it's me This is what Shannon Grove had to say. She released a statement that reads, Lauren Skidmore and the Open Door Network provide incredibly valuable services to victims and survivors, offering support for those impacted by domestic violence, sexual assault, and other crimes. They've been a cornerstone of healing and justice in Kern County since the center's inception, which, by the way, was in 2017, funded independently through grants, and their tireless work has made a real difference in countless lives. Lauren Skidmore is a relentless, passionate advocate who stands for all victims, in all caps, without hesitation. I stand with Lauren, Open Door Network, and every survivor they serve. Please hear her story on Ralph Bailey at 5 p.m. today. Thank you for the shout out, Shannon, Senator. But it's breathtaking. And there are sources within the DA's office that, because when contacted by Channel 17, Cynthia Zimmer, certainly short timer with no political future. You thought she was going to answer 17? Really? You think she was going to answer their questions? Please. Those questions will never be answered. Their reporter, Connor Dorr, gave them a series of questions, and it was responded to by their PR person, Daniela Gonzaga, who wrote in part, they're now speaking for the Family Justice Center as the DA's office. The Kern County Family Justice Center is excited to welcome a new community partner and service provider in the near future, and we look forward to sharing more details soon. Again, let's be blunt. That's a lie. That's a flat out lie. There'll be no further information provided to the news unless we continue to bang the cage and demand an answer for this. I mean, let's assume for a second that this was done 2 years ago, long before Zach disgraced his family, terrorized his children, destroyed his marriage, ended his career, and besmirched his entire family, got his mother in trouble where she may still be facing charges for telling her grandchildren to shut up and not talk to police, and then the career of her aunt, who was a growing star in this community, and really, when you examine it, has done nothing wrong, but just acted as a bad actor. By doing this at this time, let's assume they decided to do this 2 years ago. Why would you time this up right now? Right after Lauren Skidmore returns from Sacramento and helping Senator Grove try to get legislation across where she stood by Christina Scrivener, our DA's nephew's estranged wife. And to me, it seems clear. It seems clear. There are two sides in this situation. There are the Scrivener family, represented by a person that the sheriff said committed a crime. That's Kathy Scrivener and her son, Zach Scrivener, and the sister, the DA. And then there's Christina and the children, and the shrapnel fell on Lauren Skidmore, in my opinion. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know the inner facts. That's why we're having Lauren on. But if this doesn't seem like, I don't know how you can view this as nothing but brazen revenge on the part of the DA's office. And once again, why she would want to go out like this, because she's going out. She's going out. Cynthia Zimmer's a brilliant woman. She knows she'd get about 17 votes if she ran for dog catcher. So she's a short timer. She doesn't give a damn. You think she cares what I'm saying today? What anybody else is saying? What the news is reporting? You think she cares? Her career has been destroyed. Her political future is dead. And this appears to be an angry, bitter woman who at the end of her career wants to hit some folks in the kidneys as she's scooting out the door. I don't see how you can perceive it any other way. And that's the key verb, perception. Because again, I'm willing to admit, no idea what I'm talking about. No idea what I'm talking about. But I get paid every 2 weeks, like clockwork, to voice my opinion. And this is my damn opinion. That this is stunning. Absolutely stunning. And once again, when powerful people are getting involved, the victims are always the helpless. The victims are the victims of domestic violence, of human trafficking. The people that the Open Door Network assisted through the Justice Family Center. And have you ever tried to call the Justice Family Center? You ever tried to call them? You ever tried to call them, Chris?
No, not really, no.
Let's give them a call and see what we get. Just hang on just a second. We got until 6 o'clock. Hold on a second. Where's my phone, Ralph? There's my phone. Where are recent calls? Let's just take a look here. Just hang on a second, real quick.
Family Justice Center, how may I help you?
I actually got through. They ruined my bit.
Hey,
I got a recording this morning
how did you
that said, essentially, we'll be back in January. And it was outdated. And they made reference to the Alliance Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault. They just absolutely ruined my bit.
JR's dying down the hall. I could hear him right now.
Yeah, they absolutely ruined my bit. I should have talked to her. I should call her back. I'm going to call her back during the break. Because I called this morning trying to get there since the DA's office is now speaking for them. I thought we'd get a quote from them. But I got a recording that said that they'd be back in January and was hoping to play, but they actually answered the phone. That was amazing. But this is absolutely amazing. It's, I don't know. We'll talk more about it with Lauren coming up at 5 o'clock. But it shines on us as well as a community, in my opinion. It really does. Because we're on people's radar. Like I said, we're the 9th largest city. If you don't think other communities aren't examining what we're doing, you're crazy. And it looks like small town nonsense is what it looks like to me. But again, we'll talk about this more with Lauren Skidmore herself coming up at 5 o'clock. Because I didn't really understand. I want to thank the listeners who, I'm just laying in bed about 7:30, 8 o'clock last night. And people calling me, is it true, Ralph? Is it true? And I thought that she got fired. I thought she got let go by the Open Door Network. I didn't know it was about the contract and the services that are provided the Family Justice Center, et cetera, et cetera. Let's go ahead and take our first break, and I'll call the center back, see if we get a recording or if somebody picks up this time. That was classic. God, why did I panic? I should have put her on the phone. God, it was a great recording too.
It's kind of make it look worse that you panicked and hung up.
What do I care?
Not like worse than like that, but it's more just like we clearly could tell you were looking for a recording.
It's a great recording. We'll be back in January. Put forward all calls to the Alliance Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault. It's the Open Door Network, which hasn't been called the Alliance in 3 years? 4 years? It was a weird recording. It was worth hearing, but they ruined my whole bit. Hello, how can we help you, Ralph? Quick time out. We're just getting started on a Thursday. Just days now, days away. Oh, I can't even talk about it. We're sold out. It's hard to tell you. Mr. Turnipseed's going to be here. I need to hear from the two fellas that played with Mr. Turnipseed last year. We're trying to put together a special foursome or maybe even a fivesome. We're going to have a lot of fun. 77 degrees. Weather's going to hold up. And of course, this all benefits Honor Flight. And don't forget, later in the program, I got a great Honor Flight story out of Florida that created an all-women's Honor Flight. It's going to D.C. this week. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We are just getting going on a Thursday. Nick Ragone will join us right after the second break, bottom of the hour. Mike Turnipseed at 4 o'clock. Daniel Petrie at 4:30. And Lauren Skidmore at 5 o'clock. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
That was better.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them,
Hey, can I speak to a
which led to
supervisor?
wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may
I'm
be
with
at
the
risk for
media.
lung
It's
cancer,
regarding
which
the
led you
Open
to
Door
getting a
Network.
low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more
Okay.
at savebythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
You know, oddly, one of the things I rarely talk about when I talk about KC Steakhouse is lunch. If you work downtown, if you work for the county or wherever on Truxton, it's not very far and it's real quick and it's very convenient. And the menu is similar, just smaller portions, and it is outstanding. And the variety on the menu that Chef Daniel
And whose office is that?
is simply unbelievable. It's mostly a large
spokesperson at the DA's office.
Steakhouse. Not everybody's feeling red meat to celebrate someone's birthday or an anniversary or whatever the event.
Great, thank you.
And that's why Chef Daniel has advanced the menu. So there's Italian food.
They gave me Gonzaga's
I love
number.
Fettuccine Alfredo with chicken. The lobster mac and cheese is everybody's favorite. The fish dishes, the mahi-mahi, the swordfish, the halibut.
Yeah.
Where would you rather be than on F Street? And don't forget about the Stockyard next door for meetings, banquets, or just having dinner and having some of the craft cocktails that are served next door.
Well, I think it runs out like in a couple of
longtime
days.
sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Are you looking for a one-of-a-kind way to honor your team
I
and
was
commemorate a
telling you the
special event? Look no further than
letter that-
Martinez Challenge
the letter
Coins
that,
and more,
Cynthia
the
sent her
premier
warning her
challenge
to shut
coins
up.
and specialty metals company in Bakersfield. With years of experience and a commitment to quality, Martinez creates custom challenge coins that are truly exceptional. Whether you need coins for your military unit, law enforcement agency, or corporate team, they have you covered. Their expert team will work closely with you to design a coin that reflects your unique vision. From intricate artwork to personalized details, Martinez ensures that every coin is a true work of art.
Hi, I'm Ray Martinez, owner and founder of the company. So don't settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary.
Contact Martinez Challenge Coins and more today and let them bring your vision to life. Visit their website at martinez-martinezllc.com or call 661-304-9589. Martinez Challenge Coins and more, where excellence meets craftsmanship.
I love the exercise classes here at the Senior Center.
Me too. I'm trying to eat healthier too, but it's expensive these days.
And that's why I use benefitscheckup.org. I learned I can get help paying for groceries.
Benefitscheckup.org?
Yes. In a few clicks.
You hear me? You hear me? I couldn't get audio from Lauren from last time.
All right.
It was too far back. I just wanted to give you a heads up.
All right.
That was the only audio, right?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Performance Saturday, March 21st at Dignity Health Theater. Experience Beethoven's Violin Concerto in D major, a masterpiece of lyric beauty and quiet power, performed by acclaimed violinist Eunice Kim. The evening concludes with Beethoven Symphony No. 6, Pastoral. Don't miss the Beethoven experience. Saturday, March 21st at Dignity Health Theater. Tickets start at just $35. For more info, go to bsonow.org. That's bsonow.org.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's knowing that your door is always open and your path is free to walk.
So I got through to the Family Justice Center and asked to speak regarding Open Door Network, and they gave me Danielle Gonzaga's number, the PR person for the DA's office. And in case you guys want it, have any questions, where did I write it? I wrote it somewhere. 868-2381. As for Danielle Gonzaga, I'll be calling her soon. That's incredible. And that they're speaking for the center because they want to keep this very, very inside. It's just amazing what people in power will do and how family, blood is thicker than water, Jack. I mean, you got to give her that much. At least she's defending her family. Doing it in an untoward way, if you ask me, but what do I know? What the hell do I know? I do know that there are some updates on the war. Ooh, please stand by. She sent it to me. Ooh, I might have something after the break. I think I have the letter. Have you seen the reply to news? Yes, I have. Lauren just sent me the letter that she received because I left out the fact that Lauren received a letter long before this decision was made, asking her not to speak up about cases. Cases. Now, we all know what the real message was. Stop talking about my nephew. Stop taking sides with his estranged wife. What else could she be referring to? We'll ask Lauren at 5 o'clock, has she ever said this to you before? Have they ever had a problem with you standing by people that are victims of crimes like, oh, I don't know, the 4 children in the Scrivener family and Christina herself? You know, one thing that people haven't really put their arms around is Christina is a victim in this as well. She's not completely without any involvement, because I think one of the natural questions that I posed and people have posed to me is that they knew what was going on with Scrivener. She described how Zach damn near died from alcoholism at one point in his life. So the natural question, the fair question is, then how in the world was he left alone with those 4 children? And the child endangerment portion of his charges weren't even addressed by the Attorney General's office. They were focusing on the gun charges, and they thought that they could tie that in and get everything dismissed. That's still being adjudicated, but you can bet your bottom dollar that that's not going to change. They're not going to withdraw his mental diversion simply because Joe Penny got outdueled by H.A. Sala, knowingly, in my opinion, by Rob Bonta. Rob Bonta knew that this kid could not, he's not a kid, he's a grown-ass man, but he wasn't going to beat H.A. Sala. And they knew the nature of the charges. Put Scrivener in a specific lane for mental diversion. They knew exactly what they were doing. This is a big, I don't want to use the word conspiracy, but this is looking out for the elite from start to finish. And that's what makes Cynthia's decision, the DA's decision, so odd, because again, as I've said redundantly, she technically has had no role in Scrivener's past. She really hasn't. This was all out of the AG's office. Now, I think she handled it poorly right from the get-go. The sheriff has defended the infamous phone call from Cynthia Zimmer to the sheriff. But I think that was completely wrong and unethical. I don't think there was anything that came out of it, and that's why she hasn't been charged. There hasn't been any probe into that. And like I said, the sheriff has absolutely defended her on that count. But to go out like this at the end of your career, your distinguished career as the top cop of Kern County, and to look so small and bitter and vengeful against a woman, quite frankly, Miss Skidmore, who is absolutely adored in this community. You heard what I read from Shannon Grove, a woman who has done nothing but try to help folks who are in the worst era of their lives, being either human trafficked or being knocked around by their husband or wife, for that matter. And yet you're going to take the legs out from this Family Justice Center, all for revenge for your family, because you don't like what Lauren Skidmore is doing and the impact it's having on your nephew. It just makes us look like Mayberry. It really does. And it makes it look like our law enforcement is headed by, you know, somebody who's the mayor and the DA and the sheriff and the head of the police department and, you know, judge, jury, and executioner, and can do things like this. It's going to change people's lives. This is going to change Lauren Skidmore's life. She's a happy woman who's got a great job and loves what she does. But again, at the end of the day, when entitled people get involved, the people that get hurt, just like in the Epstein situation, are the survivors. And the people that get hurt from this new contract, this new provider that somehow is going to do better than what the Open Door Network or the Alliance Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault has been doing for years, the victims will be the ones who get hurt the most. Because I don't think there's any organization that we're not even being told about that can do better than what the Open Door Network has done for years. And you have to know that because there's absolutely no transparency in this. What did Gonzaga say? There'll be more details later? Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're betting we'll all forget about it. They apparently don't listen to the show, do they? I ain't forgetting about it. We're going to bang this cage for quite a bit. In the meantime, we're going to pivot. We're off to Philadelphia, PA, Commonwealth of. Round one of the Players' Championship is in the books. We'll talk to our good friend and golf aficionado, Nick Ragone, getting ready for his championship tour event in Philadelphia coming up in September. And then Mr. Turnipseed and Mr. Petrie in the 4 o'clock hour. I'd stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The FBI says the suspect who killed one person and injured 2 others at Old Dominion University on Thursday has been identified by authorities as Mohammed Baylor Jallo, who pleaded guilty in 2016 to attempting to provide material support to the Islamic State. FBI Director Kash Patel said in a social media post that the shooting is being investigated as an act of terrorism. A man armed with a rifle rammed a vehicle into a major synagogue in a Detroit suburb and was fatally shot by security. The vehicle caught on fire after crashing into Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield Township. Investigators are still working to identify the man and a possible motive for the attack. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 739 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. An adventure on Isabella Lake last night about 6:30 when 911 calls came in about a boat possibly sinking and 4 people holding on to it in the water. That's exactly what a rescue team from the Kern County Sheriff's Department found when they searched the lake from the air and spotted the group. They were pulled to safety with 1 person hurt. Convicted felon Peter Moreno of Arvin went back to the slammer after a search of his house by probation officers turned up a rifle, a pistol, and the ammo, say those officers. He's now facing a list of charges, one being a felon with a firearm. A bulky item drop-off event is planned from 8 to noon Saturday on Panorama Drive if you have things to get rid of. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. If you're eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. You know, for years, I've been telling you QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits
Hey, if I
coverage,
send you this
and
letter, can you print it
understanding
for
these
me?
coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today, 661-554-4544, and let us help you understand your options for 2026. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve for accommodations of persons with special needs and meetings. Call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Friday's Armstrong and Getty show. The whole world is keeping its eye on the Strait of Hormuz. How is that going to turn out? Are we going to escort oil tankers through that strait?
And as if our minds weren't already blown by AI, how AI turns evil is a new study in the world of science. Study it hard, figure it out quick. That and the news of the day, of course, on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
It's all Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show. Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Day one of the Players' Championship is just about completely in the books. There are a couple of players still on the golf course. In fact, there's some players just starting the back. I'm just looking at most of the players, however, are finished. And our golf aficionado live from Philadelphia, PA, Nick Ragone joins us once again. How are you, sir?
Good. My prediction's looking pretty good. If you remember, I gave you a couple of dark horses. One was Sahet Tigala, who's 5 under through 16. So he might very well be the clubhouse leader.
Yeah. And I see Justin Thomas is playing well.
That is good to see for the had to withdraw after the first disappointing.
What happened? I did not see this. What happened?
Yeah, he tweaked his back on the second tee. He was taking a practice swing and he like doubled over in pain and he withdrew, which is interesting because like a lot of the coverage around it is around like activity on DraftKings and FanDuel, and gambling has become such a big part of all sports that that's the storyline, is that it upsets the gambling lines, which I find really disappointing.
Crazy. Gambling is so crazy. Did you hear that they were gambling on the death of the Ayatollah?
I mean, it's not surprising, but I think I grew up in an era, you grew up in an era, we grew up in an era where, like, you didn't, in professional sports, you look at your local bookies, but where you went to Vegas, but like, you never thought of the leagues and sports, celebrating gambling. I mean, Pete Rose famously got banned forever, and so I grew up in that era. I find it so distasteful.
Where the commissioners, are you kidding me? You remember this in the 60s, Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle wanted jobs as greeters. Greeters
at the Sands in Atlantic City, and they got banned.
Yes, just to shake hands at the front door, basically.
Right. And I remember that. I remember that vividly. And I remember they were banned for a couple of years. And that was, Joe Namath had to sell Broadway Joe's because it was associated with like corrupt individuals or whatever. I mean,
they were coming to his bar in New York.
Coming to his bar and hanging out.
Yeah.
Like,
the year that he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. He had the big press conference. He said he was going to quit.
He was going to quit. He was in tears. Frank Gifford was standing right next to him, and
the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, they really turned a hard eye on this, and now they're absolutely in bed with these guys.
I mean, now it's a ginormous revenue source. It's probably for all the leagues, and golf is a traditional sport and gentleman's sport, and I find it so disappointing the way golf is now wrapped up in FanDuel and DraftKings and betting lines. I don't like it at all.
I don't either. And you're seeing all these weird, suspicious things, and guys getting caught, because you can bet the under, and guys can control the under. If I'm supposed to have 12 points,
NBA, look at that.
Yeah, if I'm supposed to have 12 points, I chuck out with a bad ankle after 9, and the bettors win their money. It's crazy.
That's already happened. We saw that happen in the big NBA scandal. I mean, there's going to be more of that. And like, these prop bets are easy to fabricate. I just, it was disappointing. Like, all the buzz is around Mordecai upsetting the betting lines. I'm like, ugh.
That's crazy.
Wrong.
That is crazy. What else is going on? I saw nothing today. I didn't get to see it. I was out.
Rory's struggling big time. You can tell his back is still tender. It's not a big name leaderboard. Other than JT, he's really the only name. Maverick McNeely's at the top, but he's not really a name. And then my guy, Tagala's on the leaderboard. But it's the course is playing tough. There's a rain delay for a little bit. The rain softened it a little bit. The wind has calmed down, so it's been playing easier in the afternoon. But this is not shaping up. There's not a ton of big names even under par. Scotty struggled. He barely made it in at even par. Xander Schauffele, who I like this week, is at even. He's struggling. Rory is struggling.
Wow.
JJ Spawn's playing well, but it's not. I don't see a ton of big names up there.
Yeah, your guy Aberg. He's Oberg. He's at 3 under in the clubhouse.
He's at 3. Yep, he's in at 3, and he would be. And I think he was one of my picks as well. So
that's where I got him up.
Good.
Yeah,
the big winner today is me, I believe. Here's my guy Tagala for par on 17. He's got about an 8-footer, so he needs to make this. He's had a very up and down back 9. He just poured it right in the middle.
He had an 8-footer for par. Where did he put his tee shot?
Yeah, on 17. I don't. He must have left it. I don't know where. He put it in that little front bunker, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, to have an 8-footer for par.
Yeah, but poured it right in the middle. So I like him a lot. I think he's cool. I like Akshay Bhatia. He's playing well. So look, I don't know that this is good. I hope Scotty or somebody makes a run. One of those big names.
Yeah, Straka's playing well.
Weird. Straka's playing well, and he's a good player.
He is.
But like, not having Bryson in the field and not having Rahm, not having Tiger, not having Phil, I still, they don't quite feel the same without Cameron Smith. I mean, there's some of those big names I'd like to see. Brooks is struggling still, but DJ, I kind of miss some of those guys.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Garcia, I miss Garcia. He's always good for his antics.
Yes.
Even Patrick Reed, I think it's going to be good for Reed to come back.
Yeah, I'm looking at this.
Oh, actually, Shoffley's now at 3 under, so he's made a little bit of a move.
Okay. Yeah, you had him as well. I had him as well.
So I literally, everybody I said is playing good golf. So I'm like the Nostradamus of Bakersfield.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Give us an update. Talk with Nick Ragone. Give us an update on your tournament coming up in September.
Yeah, the Jefferson Lehigh Classic. We're playing it at the famous Lehigh Country Club out here outside Philadelphia, about an hour northwest of Philly. It's going to be great. Honestly, the Champions Tour guys, I've spoken to a lot of the pros. I was down there a few weeks ago, and Justin Leonard's already committed to the field, and Ernie Els. I mean, it's going to be a great field, and we're working on Tiger. Tiger's turned 50. He hasn't, obviously not playing anything, but we have some ins with him, and so I'm hoping to lobby Tiger and get him out there. But it's going to be great. The pros, a bunch of them have already texted me saying how excited the tour is, and the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area in the late September is just gorgeous. The foliage is beautiful. The course is fantastic. We'll have to figure out a way to get you out here, but it's going to be a terrific event. And the Champions Tour, pound for pound, I got to say, is the best product in sports as far as like corporate partnerships, because it's a great price point. You get an amazing tournament that you can count on every year. The guys are great. They get it. They interact with customers and the community and fans and volunteers. They appreciate being out there, and anybody that goes to a Champions Tour event and either watches it or plays in the Pro-Am comes away thinking that's one of the coolest things you can do.
Yeah, I had as much fun playing golf. I played as badly as I've probably ever played that afternoon, and probably had more fun than I've ever had playing golf. Just hanging around with Paul Stankowski and getting a chipping lesson from him. Carlos Franco was great. And hanging out with you and listening to you talk smack. I didn't know you were a smack talker. The classic is, y'all should hear this. So Ragone gets on the tee and he crushes it. I mean, absolutely crushes it. And he turns to a professional golfer, Carlos Stankowski, and says, "Don't go chasing that, boys. Don't go chasing that."
Damn, you remember that, but yeah, some pros like that kind of smack talk. Some don't. You got to be careful who you do it with. I was playing with Dickie Pride, who's a good friend, and and I did the same thing. I busted one out there, and I was chirping at him. He goes, you love to chirp, and someday you're going to chirp at the wrong guy. And well,
most of them like it though.
Talking to Ozzy, what's that?
Most of them like it. Tiger was the king of it. Yeah,
they
little
love
needle.
They love the chirping.
They love the chirping. Yeah.
But you had more fun the night before. I remember you chatted with Ozzy.
Yes.
And saw a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
You were downing a lot of shrimp. I remember that.
I was. We had a ball in your suite at the ball game. Hung out with a dear friend of mine, Kelly, who lives in St. Louis. We had a great time that night. She took me to the bar. What's the bar right next to the stadium? Starts with a P.
I forget the name of it. Yeah,
starts with a P. Bar. It's a huge bar. And I saw something. I mean, Cardinal fans are different. I got there late. I walked in around the first inning of the bar, and it's packed. And I meet her in the outside. We're having cocktails. And by the second inning, literally, I took a picture of it. The place was empty. The place was absolutely empty.
Or
the bar. It was all people going to the game.
Yeah, they're going to the game, yeah.
Like literally, there was no one in the bar. Everyone in the bar was going to the baseball game. And it was packed when I first rolled in there. And then we, like you said, we rolled up in about the second inning, hung out with Ozzy. He could not have been nicer. We talked about him getting into a fight at second base with the Dodgers and that whole thing. And him in the home run off Tom Niedenfuer and
Niedenfuer's home run. Man.
Yep. It was
crazy, everybody. Jack Buck's legendary call. Go crazy, everybody.
Yep. And just dude, that was one of the best trips I've had. I didn't even play. I was supposed to play in the second round. I didn't even play.
Oh, that's right. You took off.
Yeah, because my name wasn't on the thing. And the girl came to me. She said, "I can get you out there." And I said, "Well," she said, "We'll go in and have lunch and have a cocktail. Come back, tell me what you want to do." I did. I came back and I said, "You know what? I had a great time yesterday and I'm not playing really well." She said, "That's okay." I went back. I went for a swim at my hotel. Kelly came and picked me up. We had a great time at the ball game that night. And then there was the dinner that night where I got to meet your wife, introduced me to Hale Irwin. And we talked about him going to Colorado, where my best friends went to school, and him being a great D-back there. He loved me bringing that up.
He was all conference 2 years in a row. I mean, he could have played NFL. He said he had offers and all that. And
Absolutely.
In fact, he had AFL offers. That was before. I think that was
the
before
merger.
The draft.
Yeah,
it was before the merger.
Yeah.
It was 67. They didn't merge till I think 69 or 70.
69 after Joe's win. Yeah.
After Joe's win, Super Bowl III. Yeah. Can you imagine that Hale Irwin in the NFL?
I know.
Remember that defensive back in the NFL, Hale Irwin versus 3-time U.S. Open? It just goes to show, though, like what type of athlete some of these guys are. Like Hale, he was all conference twice, and at the same time, I believe he won the NCAA golf tournament.
Yeah,
I believe.
I'm sure.
I mean, how radical is that? That's just amazing.
That's crazy.
He doesn't get his due. Hale doesn't get his due. First of all, he's one of the greatest golfers of all time, 3-time U.S. Open champion, but doesn't get his due at just how great of an athlete that dude was.
Yeah. In fact, I just saw. You remember the drive that he hit on the 18th at Pebble?
Yeah, well, he hooked it into the rocks and he kicked out miraculously in the playoff against Jim Nelford.
Yeah,
I got him into the playoff against Jim Nelford.
Yeah, just saw that the other night.
I bring that up to him all the time. He's like, that was one of the worst duck hooks, because he was a fader and he was a great driver of the ball. He goes, that's one of the worst duck hooks I've ever hit in my life.
Yeah, but luckily bounced back. He's on the fairway and he won the tournament. Great story.
Yep.
Great story. All right, well, I'm definitely coming out. How far is Lehigh outside of Philly?
It's only a 45-minute drive, so you'd fly into Philly. I'm sure you guys actually from Bakersfield. Where do you fly into? Like Chicago or something, or you don't have direct?
I'd probably fly from here to Phoenix, and then probably Phoenix to Philly.
Phoenix, is that like the big hub? Like where's
Sky Harbor? Yeah, or maybe Denver. I don't know, because I've been to Philly. I've flown from Philly. I did fly to Philly. I went from here to Denver, Denver to Philly. That's the last one I went to Philly. Yeah.
Because when was the last time you were in Philly?
About 15, 16 years ago. Buddies of mine was living in New York, Pennsylvania, and we all flew to Philly, hung out in Philly for a couple of days, and we drove down to Baltimore and went to the Preakness. With the Preakness in 90.
Hopefully,
99, 20, 2000, something like that.
Hopefully the Eagles are playing the week, because we're the week of September 28th, and the schedule hasn't come out yet, but hopefully the Eagles are playing. We'll go to, obviously, watch a game.
Yeah, I'm definitely coming. So should I stay in Philly or Lehigh?
Good question. I'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Right around where I am in Villanova, because it's right in between. But there's nothing better. I'm sure you've been to many Raider games, but there's nothing better than an Eagles home game.
I'm sure. I can't even imagine.
Do not wear your Raiders stuff.
No.
In the Lincoln Financial.
No, I'm not that stupid. I'm not.
They don't cotton to that. So after 1980.
Yeah, I'm aware. First stadium in NFL history to have a jail at the stadium.
To have a jail. They had a judge and a jail. They prosecuted you right there.
I mean, those fans are infamous. The throwing snowball batteries at Santa Claus. Yeah.
Spagnola's become a good. In fact, I just got into Philly Country Club literally last night. I got it, and Spagnola was my sponsor, the tight end, and so he's become a really good friend of mine. And of course, I'm a Raider fan through my brother Tom and a historian, and so I remember Rod Martin's 3 picks, and he goes, 2 of those picks, those balls were intended for me. Spagnola.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, you're like a little footnote of history there. He goes, oh, we got so outplayed in that game. Although he reminds me, Carmichael dropped a pass that if he caught it,
it's a different game.
He dropped a touchdown.
Yeah, it's a different game. I remember that. I was a freshman in college that year. God, that's a long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Dick
I was in like 4th grade. Dick Vermeil. He had them really tight, and the Raiders were loose, and Kenny King had that 80-yard pass.
Yep. Number 33.
Number
33, Kenny King. God. You're bringing me back, man. All right, I got to get going. Always great to talk to you, Pop. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, talk to you later,
man. All right, man. Take care. Nick Ragone. I totally blacked out there. I apologize. As if I was on the phone with him. I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm doing a radio show. Like the last 6 minutes, that was like a personal phone call. That's all it was. I apologize. Totally forgot. Doing a radio show. I'm drunk with Luigi's. I had the salmon, a little pasta, Even had a bite of Butterfinger pie. Just a bite. So good. But that salmon, I love Cassie's salmon at Casey's Steakhouse. But Gino puts his candy coating over the top. Oh, my God. It's the best. It's absolutely the best. I saw our former general manager there. She's celebrating her fourth anniversary. Congratulations, Katie and her husband. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. Mr. Turnipseed will join us at the top of the hour. Our money man, Daniel Peach. We'll talk about Social Security with Daniel. And then, hang on, coming up at 5 o'clock, the executive director of the Open Door Network, Lauren Skidmore, will talk about the Open Door Network's contract with the Justice Family Center being cut off by DA Cynthia Zimmer and her office. Was this revenge? Familial revenge? I certainly think so. We'll read you the letter that the DA sent to Lauren Skidmore asking her not to speak up about cases. Yeah, cases. Not one in specific, Cynthia, but just cases in general, right? Okay, all right. Mayberry RFD. Quick timeout, coming right back. It's TRBS on a Thursday, right here on News Talk 96.1 AM 1180 KERN. Anything?
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Nobody's talking about that self-worth and purpose. We're talking about that.
Oh, we should have called it. Can you back it up?
Let's help you get there.
Let's help you get
No,
there.
don't worry about it.
Let's
Don't
just
worry.
all agree that there's many different roads for different people dealing with homelessness.
We should have called it.
On the streets to get them.
Right, I agree with you.
And as long as we can start there, then I think we can start to make a bigger day.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
As I mentioned, owner-operator of Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue is celebrating his birthday today. Mike Arier, former NFL star, Garza's boy, and now one of the leading caterers in Kern County, celebrating a big birthday today. So if you run into Mike, wish him a happy birthday. But if you're celebrating a birthday in the near future and you need a caterer, you need to call Big Mike at 393-5507. That's 393-5507. Doesn't matter what your event is. It could be graduation, a wedding party, a luncheon, no matter what it is. As I always remind you, Mike comes with all of his crew, his food, which is outstanding. They do the cooking, they do the cleaning, they do everything. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call him today at 393-5507. That's 393-5507. Big Mike's Ragin' Barbecue. And yes, after a decade of service, they're still raging hot.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Counterfeit products are popping up everywhere. Fake sneakers, fake cosmetics, and even fake pills. Crooks are selling counterfeit versions of just about everything. Last year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products were sold in the U.S. Sure, it may seem like saving a few bucks on the things you want isn't a big deal, but counterfeits are usually made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. And the money you paid, it goes right into the hands of criminals and may support child labor, drugs, and even gangs. Smells like big crime to me. So if you still think buying fake products is harmless, think again. And remember, if you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart, buy smart. Go for real. Learn more at McGruffPSA.org. This message is brought to you by the United States Patent and Trademark Office and the National Crime Prevention
Americans are
A
paying
month
more
from
for
now,
home and
we'll
auto
know.
insurance.
Yeah.
Many are asking, what can actually bring those costs down? American Property Casualty Insurance Association President and
Yeah, we
CEO
should have
David
called it.
Sampson says
Had him do
inflation and disasters
Although
play a
he's
role,
probably
but addressing legal system abuse is a key part of the solution.
Excessive legal costs drive insurance prices higher. States that reduce legal system abuse are seeing stronger markets and lower rates. Addressing these costs help protect consumers.
Learn more more at apci.org/insurance.
You still thinking job change in the new year? Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy. IT? Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI. That's what I did. Really? How? Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there too to level up. Sweet. Are classes online or on campus? Both. Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. I get high with a little help from my friends. Gonna try.
So I got the letter. Wait a minute. Should I read this?
Absolutely.
This is addressed from Ken Russell, Assistant District Attorney, to Lauren Skidmore. Ms. Skidmore, I have become aware that you have made public comments about criminal cases. They're really going to stand behind this as if there's a bigger picture and that this is not totally and completely and 100,000% about Zach Scrivener. They're really going to try to sell this to you guys. This is about cases. This is about the big picture. This is about Miss Skidmore's overall performance, not about her nephew. Also, I'm explaining a version of our story so I can send it to you before 5 o'clock. This third reaction. Ooh, cool. Please stand by. I'm communicating with the news director at Channel 20 at 17. Mr. Trahi is going to send over. Apparently, they got a response from the district attorney's office, so he's going to send us that. But I have become aware that you have made public comments about criminal cases that are pending in Kern County Superior Court. There are serious cases, and while we share your outrage involving the conduct, commenting on these cases while they are still pending in court can cause serious issues with our ability to prosecute the case. Prosecutors and the people associated with prosecuting cases have very high ethical standards regarding pretrial statements, and I am concerned that your comments about pending criminal cases could be attributed to the assigned prosecutor or the Kern County District Attorney's Office. Such a finding could result in a change of venue, the recusal of our office, or dismissal of the case. For the reasons that follow, the Kern County District Attorney's Office is asking that you refrain from public comments about pending cases until the case is concluded and sentencing is complete. I'm providing you with written notice to comply with our ethical obligations. Oh, they were setting her up. This is classic firing. You establish an issue. You establish a paper trail where we have warned you of said issue, and then we whack you. And then when we go back, we go, well, we told you, we got the Ralph Bailey read the damn letter. We got it right here. This has nothing to do with Zach. This is to do with cases and pretrial and speaking out before the case was over. It's got nothing to do with going to Sacramento and getting this over the goal line, trying to get new legislation passed, or showing up there with my boss's nephew's estranged wife and his terrorized son. No, it's got nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with it. It's got to do with the cases and the bigger picture here. This is such crap. I'm not reading their nonsense. I'm not going to provide a venue for their lies. Are you kidding me? I'll let Lauren deal with it. And apparently, Mr. Trahi from 17 is going to send us over a response from the DA's office. But I'm not going to be their launch pad for, in my opinion, an absolutely disingenuous method of getting rid of Lauren Skidmore, who's been a pain in their ass as a family, not as a district attorney's office. I don't buy that. I've heard sources claim that they've been complaining about this and other cases. I just don't buy it. I could be completely wrong. You all have to make up your own decision. I don't think there's any other decision to make, however, because I don't think Cynthia Zimmer has any political future in this town. I don't think she's even going to run again. And if she does, somebody, it's like the mob. It's always your best friend that whacks you. Well, it's going to be one of those DAs that's going to run against her if, in fact, she runs. and they'll destroy her, whoever it is. You know, this isn't another Scott Spielman situation. This will be a slam dunk for whoever decides to run against her. And I think that is part why she doesn't give a damn about the timing of this and what it appears. You know, you got to remember, yeah, she's a law enforcement agent. She's a politician as well. She's got to get reelected. She's got to kiss babies and shake hands and raise money. And in the world of politics, perception is reality in many cases. And when you've got an advocate who is siding with the estranged wife of your nephew, and you whack that person or her basic ability to help domestic violence victims and human trafficking victims, and then try to say that it has nothing to do with your nephew, that dog won't hunt.
This is AM 1180
Connor
KERN.
Doyle showing up at 5 o'clock.
This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Yeah,
News
the
this
17
hour
quarter.
from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A gunman who rammed a Michigan synagogue is dead.
A man armed with a rifle rammed a vehicle into a major synagogue in the Detroit suburbs, then was fatally shot by security.
Nobody at the moment has been confirmed to be hurt.
Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard.
During security at this temple, as you mentioned?
Yes, it was. And they engaged the threat.
Early on, smoke could be seen billowing from the scene at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield Township. It's one of the largest synagogues in the U.S. Authorities say the attacker drove through a set of doors and into a hallway. Then the vehicle caught fire. Deputies were able to clear the building, and parents sprinted to get their children from an early childhood learning center inside. I'm Jennifer King.
Another attack in the U.S. today took place at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. 2 people there, including the gunman, are dead and 2 others are injured. The suspect, identified by authorities as Mohammed Baylor Jallo, had pleaded guilty in 2016 in attempting to provide material support to the Islamic State. The United Nations Security Council is demanding a halt to Iran's targeting of neighboring Gulf states that threaten global oil supply.
The war is not just dealing a blow to the oil and gas industry by shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, but also shutting down the few ports in the Middle East from where oil is exported. And the Iranians really seem to be digging in order to create a prolonged economic shock. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard has now said that international Western financial institutions are also legitimate targets because they say that one of their banks has been hit.
The BBC's Barbara Platt-Usher. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average down by 739 points. The Nasdaq dropped 404. The S&P 500 lower by 103. More at townhall.com.
Hey, Siri.
So my friends over at Pure Talk have been sending me customer feedback from consumeraffairs.com, where thousands of people rate
Siri.
and review the top wireless
Call Mike
providers. Here, for
Turnipseed.
instance, is a nice note from James in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Hey,
who
Siri.
writes, quote, after hearing Mike
Call
Rowe's
Mike
ad, we made the
Turnipseed.
switch to Pure Talk, and we couldn't be happier. We went from spending $1,200 a year with T-Mobile to $420 with Pure Talk. Thanks, Mike. Switch today! Exclamation point. Pure Talk is saving James $820 a year.
And Peachy's
And because he
bonus.
literally
Peachy's
wrote
at
the
a doctor's
words
appointment.
"switch today" in capital
I booked
letters
the whole fucking
with an
show for gas,
exclamation
now I
point,
got no
I'm going to
gas.
go ahead and dedicate this commercial to him. So,
Shit.
folks, take it from James.
Yeah.
In Raleigh, North Carolina.
I know.
Pure Talk can give you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month on the same 5G service the big guys are overcharging you for. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. You'll also save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 to save an additional 50%. Thanks, James.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Rescue on Isabella Lake. I'm Chris Davis. The 911 call came into the dispatch center just before 6:30 Wednesday evening. A boat had capsized and 4 people were holding on to it and needed help. On top of that, they were drifting because of the wind. The Kern County Sheriff's Office got a chopper and searched the lake, eventually finding the group still holding on. Once they were found, getting them out of the water was no problem. One of them was hurt and had to be taken to the hospital. 14 people busted in Oildale. Code enforcement and clearing lots of debris, and 8 of those arrests were felonies, say deputies. On probation had several guns and ammo when probation officers searched his Packard Drive in Arvin, say officers, landing Peter Marino back in the slammer on charges of being a felon in possession of a firearm, possession of ammunition by a prohibited person, and gang participation, along with several other firearm-related charges. Saturday from 8 to noon, you'll be able to get rid of bulky items that are clogging up your house and your life. The bulky item drop-off event will be on Panorama Drive. Some of the items they will take: sofas, love seats, chairs, tables, desks, shelving units, mattresses, bed frames, washers, dryers, stoves, microwaves, lawn chairs, patio furniture, grills, kiddie pools. Some they will not take: tires, construction, demolition materials, remodeling materials.
I just talked to him this morning. No, he did not
like
tell
oil
me.
paint and bleach.
No, he did not.
I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180. KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get a post like this, but a bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make your call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Thursday, 12th day of March. It's TRBS. With lots to do, my regulars let me down today. We'll talk to Mr. Turnipseed in just a second via the Rogers Brand Global Telephone Network. And Mr. Petrie will be with us next week. He is unavailable. But coming up at 5, Lauren Skidmore, Executive Director of the Open Door Network. She'll explain this letter that I was kind of read some of, where she was warned off by the DA's office and they amassed enough reasons. They have nothing to do with Zach Striver, of course. Nothing. No. It's the bigger picture. It's the number of cases that she's dealing with. Biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard in my life. You want to know the truth? But we'll talk with Lauren coming up at 5 o'clock. In the meantime, it is a Thursday. Time to bring in the Executive Director of the Current Tax Association, Michael Turnipseed. What's all this nonsense about you telling me you weren't going to be here? I just spoke with you this morning. You mentioned nothing of not being.
I sent you an email before that.
Everybody knows Chris, JR, my bosses. I don't read my damn email. Like, I don't read my damn email.
I send you articles all the time to read.
I read my email. I read them at about 6:50. I check my email right after I eat and I inhale my THC. I pick up my phone and read my email.
Oh well, we're here. We're talking. And,
that's right.
You know, you want to talk about something, so let's get started.
What do you want to talk about?
You called me this morning.
Well, what do you think? We're having
your 5 o'clock guest, Lauren Skidmore.
Yes.
And, you know, I run around government and I know a few people, so.
What's the word on the street?
Phone calls.
What's the word on the street?
Well, first of all, we're going to explain the contract.
Between
the county of Kern and the DA's department, which is for the DA's department. It's a contract with Open Door Network. It is basically the contract, according to the sources that told me, is the contracts, or it's a renewable contract. So what happened? It's a renewable contract. So, and all of the county's renewable contracts end on December 31st. And if there's no cancellations and there has to be relatively good reasons why. And there's people who make sure, because you don't want to get sued for wrongful, there's
termination. Yeah.
Yes. So, but those have I've been told. And I've also been told by a source that there was no record since they've had a contract of anything negative about the performance of Open Door Network.
Which makes it even more suspicious, does it not?
Nothing. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I've also found out that the letter that Lauren received was dated back in November.
The one I have is this dated September 16, 2025.
Okay, well, so it's way back. Yes, but she didn't get it until what, May 3rd? March 3rd?
I don't know. We'll find out at 5 o'clock.
Well, when she got it, she just evidently got it this week. So, see, the sources, but she can have dated it when it wanted, but if you don't have delivery, usually you send it where you got to sign for it, received it, so that you're terminating the contract. Send them an email. You got to send them a certified letter that they have to sign and receive it. And, there's things like this you have to do.
Well, let's make clear the letter that I have, Mike. I don't have the termination letter. I have a letter from Ken Russell, the assistant DA, which in news packages, namely 17s, Lauren made reference to, where she's basically being told to shut up and not talk about, as they put it, cases. So where they're trying to make it look like they're telling her to shut up about Zach, but they're formulating it as if it's the bigger picture, just cases in general. When anybody with a brain over IQ over 50 knows that this has absolutely everything exclusively to do with her nephew. I just don't buy that this is the bigger picture. What say you about that?
Well, obviously, that was the warning letter or the threatening letter.
Yeah.
But her talking about that and basically being an advocate for abused children, that's one of her biggest jobs.
Yes, and most important.
And the fact that the state senator wanted her to be up and testify in Sacramento.
And has released,
kids were there.
The second son was there. You're absolutely right. And Senator Grove has also released a statement that I read at the top of the show supporting Lauren and urging people to listen to the show at 5 to hear what she has to say. So she's clearly taking the Open Door Network side in this, as well she should, and she should be applauded for that.
Well, the whole idea, if the district attorney's office wanted to terminate the contract, they had to give her 30 days notice before December 31st. And that didn't happen. Because the contract, according to my sources, just for sanity, because they have lots of these contracts. So they all start on one day and they all end on one day. So there's no confusion about this one next week or 2 weeks. It's a policy. This is how it works. And basically, and they said she's to April 1st. Well, she's 3 full months into her contract.
Yeah.
And without cause, which I haven't seen either letter, but I just had the date mentioned because she was another news source, that it was dated November. So she probably got one in September, and then she got one in November. Well, she got it in March. She dated November because it needed the 30 days for the termination.
Right.
And if that's the case, that even makes it worse that you're trying to pull off, to me, a termination just because you didn't get the termination done on time. You're stuck with them another year because, people, I talked to 3 people about this, and the sources say there is nothing on record on Open Door Network about the performance of their contract. You're saying that the September letter was to talk about. I get
cases that were in progress, according to them.
Yes. And there was a case in progress.
In September, yes. Zach's.
Yes.
Zach's. I mean, is there really any question that this is exclusively about Zach? Am I being fair to say that without real deep knowledge? Or is that just basic common sense?
Well, Ralph, I can just say this. When you talk to people who know,
yes,
who manage the county, who deal with contracts, and they know what the contract. Everything has to flow through the downtown Truxton,
right?
715 Truxton. It all flows through there. I don't care if you're the sheriff, the fire department. Everything flows there. And they said there's nothing in their file on this contract about any misconception. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. Nothing. There was no basis for the termination based on the terms of the contract.
Does the Open Door Network have a legal fight here?
Ooh, I'm not a lawyer. No. I don't give legal advice.
Well, that's okay, because it just so happens that the former counsel to the county will be in the studio Tuesday at 4:00. So that will certainly be an interesting afternoon. Or 3:30. What am I talking about? Teresa comes in at 3:30, right? What am I talking? I don't even know my damn show.
Ralph, you're getting pretty old here. You're getting like me.
All right, settle down there. Settle down. But yeah, it'll be interesting to talk with a former Kern County council who she has to know the answers to this. It's what
you should call her when I get off and get it in and sandwiched, and then have Lauren come on.
Well, I don't have a guest at 4:30. We really could have her on.
I thought you said Petrie's not coming today.
That's what I'm saying. We don't have a guest at 4:30.
That's what I said. I'm suggesting you call her and have her pinch hit.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea.
That's
Get
what
her
I do.
thoughts on
I give people good ideas, Ralph.
Yeah. So what's the bottom line of this? What give me your final thoughts, having talked to people. And
well, what is the damage? I don't even know the amount of the contract. What are the damages to Open Door Network?
Well, we'll find it out at 5:00. I think the damages to the domestic violence victims and the human trafficking victims and the victims of crimes that the Open Door Network has helped since 2017, since the very existence of the Family Center.
Yes, and they've had it, and there's been no, even going back, they said that everybody likes Open Door Network.
Of course they do.
I mean, Louis Gill and now Lauren. I mean, it's
two of my favorite people. I talked to Louis this morning, as a matter of fact, who was on the other side of the coast, but the former head of the then Alliance Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault, now the Open Door Network, that Lauren took the baton from Louis Gill. And it just reeks of small town cronyism, does it not, Michael? Am I being unfair?
I would have to agree with that.
Yeah,
I'd have to agree with your statement.
It's crazy.
And the fact is that the DA has they've got a gift. She got a gift. She's not up for election this year like all the other department heads. They changed the state law because I thought it was just sheriffs, but I learned today it was sheriffs and district attorneys. They're getting an extra 2 years added to their current terms so they can be on the presidential ballot. So in presidential elections, turnouts are 60-70%, and governor turnouts are about 40. So the people in Sacramento and the legislature thought they could get different people elected with bigger turnouts. We'll see how that works out.
So when is she up?
She's up in 2028.
Okay. Well,
now the treasurer, the tax collector, the auditor, there's 4 other ones that they're going to be up as normal, and this South Sacramento screws things up. But that's really what it is. But just from the public information that's out there, this will be interesting, and I'll definitely hang around and listen to Lauren at 5:00 to hear her first side of the story.
I don't think the DA's office understands what domino they have flipped over and where it's going to lead. I really don't. Because if she's not up until 28, I'm going to just keep my mouth shut. But I don't think I'll just say this again. I don't think they realize what domino they have flipped over, what Pandora's box they have opened. I really don't.
And I'm not saying that any other family wouldn't try to do the same thing.
I conceded the very same thing, Mike. I said, if I was in that position, I might do the same thing. You're coming after my family. Blood is thicker than water. And some people are willing to say, I'll give a damn about my job. You're screwing with my family, you're screwing with my sister and my sister's child, and you're siding with her estranged wife, who I'm sure there's a strained relationship with. And, it just, the whole thing just reeks to all hell. And it just seems like there are people involved that just seemingly, on appearance, don't give a damn about those 4 children, because they're the true victims of this whole thing.
Well, as grandparents, just looking back and looking at that as something like that even came out, the grandkids supersede the kids.
Yeah, you'd think.
There's no doubt about that.
You would think. They certainly do in my family. I will leave you with this. Why are we buying the Bank of America? What are they going to do with that property?
The city rents space around town, and it was explained to me that their rent portion is going to save a few $100,000. They're going to move everybody, so everybody's basically going to be in City Hall North, police station, and the Bank of America, and they're going to move like administrative aspects of the police department and move them into there too. So because they need office space.
So we've got so many people on the county dole that they can fill that building.
Oh no, they're not going to fill it.
Oh well, that's good.
There's already tenants in the building right now.
Yeah.
So they're taking Clinica Sierra Vista. They're taking their spot in the building because Clinica bought a new building. They bought a building out on Camino Media.
Right.
So they moved and it's creating the space. And one thing about Ralph, everybody's within 2 blocks. There is a thing when you have a meeting and people are 3, 4, 5 miles away and they got to get in their car and they got to drive and they got to do this.
God forbid.
Parking.
Yeah, God forbid.
And it's got a parking garage, which most buildings downtown don't have.
Yeah, and this is such a big town. You're right. We need to be centralized.
We have asked, just like the maintenance yard there on Truxton.
Yeah.
It takes some to get to there to get to either end of the city. It's spread out so far. It takes a half hour.
To get from where to where? I can be in Wasco in a half an hour, Mike. What are you talking about?
You go, to City in the Hills, out there by Rio Bravo. That's all in the city.
Yeah, that's a good
And you go out to the southwest now, it's halfway. It's almost Enos Lane now.
Yeah, that's a pretty good drive.
And you're driving some of this equipment. You see them driving tractors and stuff. And
okay, that I see. But
that's something that they're going to have to be looking at too, because it is costing them money, just not only in mileage but time. You're paying basically 10 to 15% of your people are just commuting to the work site after they they get here.
Yeah. All right. Well, will you be listening at 5?
I will be listening.
And apparently it's going to be on television tonight. Mr. Try is sending over a camera crew as well. Yeah, this is like I said.
News, baby.
Like I said, the DA's office has no idea what box they open. No idea.
And I told some people who called me about it. I said, Lauren Skidmore has a lot of friends.
Abso-freaking-lutely. They have no idea what they have done. Or maybe they just don't give a damn. I think it's the latter. I think they have a pretty good idea what they've started, but they just don't give a damn. But I didn't know that Cynthia wasn't out of here till 28. Holy kingfish. That presents a whole different situation, Jack. And you might be looking at the guy or listening to the guy who initiates a whole new situation, an entirely new situation. Now that she's going to be sitting in that chair till 28. No. It's a whole new day. It's a whole new day, Michael.
Oh, wow.
You damn right.
You're getting off watery here.
I'm getting excited. I like when there's a cause. I really do. And they have created a cause. Thank you, sir. Are we playing this weekend?
No.
Come on, you got to get ready for the tournament.
I'll be fine. Don't worry.
All right.
It's in what, 2 weeks?
It's a week from Monday. And it's my turn to buy lunch. It's my turn to buy lunch.
Let's play Saturday before Monday.
All right, very good.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll see you. Mike Turnipseed, quick timeout. I have no idea who we're going to talk to at the bottom of the hour, but it might be former Kern County Council Teresa Golder. So I would stick around if I you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, yes, it's Friday. We have to talk about drones that may or may not be able to reach California. We'll find out together. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather, and we got 3 hours to get it done. 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the information superhighway at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's that man again for Sangera Subaru and a Subaru A Lot to Love event going on now through March 31st at Sangera Subaru. And of course, spring is the best time to get an incredible offer on that new Subaru you've been waiting for, like 2026 Forester CVT. Lease one now for only $179 a month for 36 months and just $5,000 due at signing. And remember, every Subaru always comes standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. And don't forget, this offer ends March 31st. So stop by and see my good friends Damon Culbertson, Hassan Levy, and all the guys during the Subaru A Lot to Love event. Pick out your new Subaru for spring and hit the open road. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community at 5500 Gasoline Alley Drive in the Bakersville Auto Mall, 24/7 at sangerasubaru.com.
Through March 31st, 2026, lease a 2026 Forester CVT for $179 a month on a 36-month lease. $5,000 due at lease signing plus tax and license. 0 security deposit. 7,500 mile year limit. 15 cents per mile overage. MSRP $32,183. VIN number T3030467. Model code TFB-01.
Trucordia, a new name but a trusted partner for Kern County businesses. At Trucordia, we provide business solutions that include comprehensive commercial insurance and proactive risk strategies to help protect your company and keep operations running smoothly. We also offer benefit solutions with flexible options for both businesses and individuals, supported by easy online tools and hands-on local service that makes everything simpler. For guidance you can count on, call Don Kuhn at 661-401-2280. Trucordia, building trust.
Don't miss Beethoven. The Bakersfield Symphony's upcoming performance. Saturday, March 21st at Dignity Health Theater. Experience Beethoven's Violin Concerto in D major, a masterpiece of lyric beauty and quiet power, performed by acclaimed violinist Eunice Kim.
Yeah, I don't think
concludes
Teresa wants to
with
be involved
Beethoven
in
Symphony
this.
number
She's
6,
never
Pastoral.
not
Don't miss the Beethoven experience. Saturday, March 21st at Dignity Health Theater. Tickets start at just $35. For more info, go to bsonow.org. That's bsonow.org.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 K.
And I'm about to send her back and see if I can read any of these. Please stand by. I don't know why I didn't do this during the break. Can I read these? Can I read your comments anonymously? How do you spell anonymously? O-N-O-N-Y? O-N-O-N-Y? Anonymous. A-N-O-N-Y M-O-U-S-L-Y? Anonymous?
A-N-O-N-Y
M-O-U-S-L-Y.
M-O-U-S-L-Y.
Can I read your comments anonymously on the air? In the air. Well, she knows what I mean. 842-5376. What, you got somebody?
No. We have 1 minute.
Then let's go to the bottom of the hour break. And when we come back, we'll talk more about this. Lauren Skidmore is going to join us at the top of the hour. And be sure to watch I guess the 6 o'clock news. Mr. Trahi, the news director at KGT 17, is bringing a crew over. Connor Dorr, the reporter, who's been covering the Scrivener situation. If somehow you're just rolling back into a town or been comatose for the last 48 hours, the DA's office has cut off the contract with Open Door Network that is involved with the Family Justice Center since its inception in 2017. And now, according to Mr. Turnipseed and some of his sources, they may not have done it in an appropriate and timely fashion. We'll find that out when we talk with Lauren at the top of the hour. In the meantime, you need to stick around. It's TRBS. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Oh, what a day, what a day, what a day. I didn't put up my freaking... Didn't even put up my bobbleheads.
In Washington, the FBI says ROTC students subdued and killed a gunman who yelled Allahu Akbar before opening fire Thursday in an Old Dominion University classroom, killing 1 person and wounding 2 others. The FBI says the suspect who killed 1 person and injured
Alfredo
2 others
sauce
at
on
Old
my pants.
Dominion University on Thursday has been identified by authorities as Mohammed Baylor Jallo, who pleaded guilty in 2016 to attempting to provide material support to the Islamic State. A man armed with a rifle rammed a vehicle into a major synagogue in a Detroit suburb and was fatally shot by security. The vehicle caught fire after crashing into the Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield Township. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 739 points. This is SRN News.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. Beware people who are languishing in an area where public camping isn't allowed. Sometimes cops raid those areas, and Kern County deputies say they busted 14 people and brought along code enforcement to clear out debris and waste at a site in Oildale this week. 8 of the arrests they made were felonies. 4 people who were holding on to a boat that had turned over on Isabella Lake were pulled out of the water by a Kern County Sheriff's Department rescue team last night about 6:30. Dispatchers got 911 calls about that boat possibly sinking, and a chopper was used to search the water. One of the people was hurt and had to go to the hospital. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. If you're eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. You know, for years, I've been telling you QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today, 661-554-4544, and let us help you understand your options for 2026. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. What's going on, Ed? Get the information. Hey, let's play this weekend. And the coverage you deserve for accommodation. Get ready for the tournament. With special needs and meetings. Get ready for the tournament. 554-4544. TTY 711.
Friday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton.
I'll hit you up that morning
with the absolute latest on Iran, the price of oil and gas, and ongoing battles in the primary. What should we expect? What do you need to know to head into the weekend? And hopefully we'll have some fun as well. It'll be the Friday edition of Clay and Buck. Make sure you come hang with us.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show. Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's been such a hectic day, I didn't even put up my bobbleheads. But I got to do that before the TV people get here. they're going to shoot the studio, I want to get Jackie Robinson in there. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got on the board?
Ralph, I had admired Cynthia Zimmer as the DA and looked very intelligent. She had a lot of promise and tossed it for a worthless nephew. My aunt would have tossed me under the bus so quick.
So would my family. My family would not have defended me. My father made that clear when I was young. Told me, don't call me from the police department. Don't call me from the station. Get out when you can. But if you get in, told me this when I was 12, 13 years old, because we had a situation with a guy in our neighborhood, a really good kid, Tony Flournoy, who was a really good kid. He went to a really horrible school. He went to Crozier Junior High School, and then he ended up going to, he got kicked out of Inglewood. He was supposed to go to Inglewood Unified. He got kicked out of there and ended up, I think, going to Crenshaw, and just got out with the wrong crowd, literally. Kid lived around the corner from me. So he lived in a fairly upper middle class neighborhood. His father worked for the county, for LA County. His mother was a teacher. And he got caught with the wrong crowd and was in a car, and there was guns and whoop up, 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 and his whole life changed in a summer. And he was 14 years old. I was 13, and spread throughout the neighborhood. And my dad called me into his room and said, you could have been in that car. And I said, no, I couldn't, Pop. I don't hang out with Tony and his friends. I hang out with Tony in the neighborhood. You've seen him in the driveway playing basketball with me. You see me in his driveway playing basketball. We go down to Brian's house and swim and play ping pong. He's been swimming at our house, but I don't go places with Tony. I don't do things with Tony. I know Tony. And he said, well, I'm just letting you know, had you been in that car and had you called us collect from the station, we wouldn't have accepted it. You would have got out when you got out. I'm not bailing you out. I'm not going to be your criminal safety net. Never forget that phrase. I will not be your criminal safety net. So if you get involved in criminal activity, you are on your own. Period. End of sentence. I just want to make that clear, son, before you decide to make a bad decision, that I will not be your criminal safety net. And I said, Pop, I'm an idiot, but I'm not stupid. And I don't think you'll ever have to worry about that until I get into my 50s. I won't get involved with the cops, Pop, until I get into the 21st century. So relax. Well, that's not true. I had a little police trouble down in Atlanta. Classic story. Meeting a girl for a date, and I'm 20 minutes late. I double park. I run in. She's at the hostess stand. Deidre, go get us a table. I apologize. I've been chasing her all semester. And I think I'd blown her off once before. So I was on thin ice. And I was 20 minutes late. And was just so, I literally double parked. Double parked. In other words, my car was parked in the street in downtown Atlanta. And I ran in just to see if she was still there. And she literally had her head cocked. This is a black woman. She had her head cocked like, you are the luckiest black man in Fulton County. And I said, I know. Get us a table, order yourself a drink. I just got to park my car. I'll be right back. I jumped in my car. I sped around the corner. I got to a red light with a female police officer who was on a motorcycle. I rolled down my window. I asked her where to park. She said, go through the next two lights and make a left. There's some underground parking. You're going to have to walk, but that's about as close as you're going to get on a Friday night. About 5:30 in the afternoon. I said, thank you very much. We both went through the first intersection. There's a really famous gargantuan intersection in downtown Atlanta that if you've seen Sharky's Machine, it's depicted in that film. And it's a huge intersection, and it turns yellow, and I go through it, and she doesn't. And she pulls me over for running the light. And I'm 19 years old, and I'm an idiot. And I just start chirping. And I'm like, you think I'm an idiot? I was just talking to you. That light was yellow. That never turned red when and I'm just chirping, and she's just writing, and she's just writing. And I'm just chirping, and I'm just chirping. And finally, I said, you know what it is? You got a chip on your shoulder because you're a woman cop. I'll never forget. She takes the microphone off her shoulder. I'm going to need a car down on Peachtree Drive, 7427 for African-American male, approximately 20 years old, born 8362. And they took me off to jail for, I think I was charged with disorderly conduct or obstruction or something like that. And my dad's classmate had to bail me out of jail at midnight that night because I was an out-of-state resident. And that's the night that I met Dexter King. I met Dexter King. He was a deputy in the jail. And he came to feed the guys because I was in a room full of, they were getting ready for the Olympics. Or they were bidding for the Olympics. So the Mayor Jackson, was on a cleanup binge where they were picking up drunks off the streets. So in the truck that I was in and in the holding cell that I was in, it was nothing but stinky ass, what we used to call bums. Now we call them homeless, just drunks. And Dexter King looked in the jail, and there I am looking like Carlton Banks. You know, I wasn't going on a date, so I'm extremely well dressed and preppy and the whole bit. And he looks and he's like, points at me and tells me to come to the door. He goes, "Don't you go to the house?" And I go, "Yeah, I do." "Dexter, it's nice to meet you, Ralph Bailey." And he goes, "Come out." And he let me walk around, and every time they would feed the guys or he'd check on me, he'd let me come out of the cell and just kind of looked after me, actually. And it's kind of ironic because the 2 years at that time I was like a sophomore, and the 2 years that I was there, I used to trash Dexter King. I was like, if I were the son of the single most famous black man in American history, I wouldn't be a deputy down at the jail and a nighttime DJ. I'd be running for city council. I'd be running for state office, which his brother, Martin III, had already done. But, and Dexter was the pretty boy of the family, which was weird. As I talked about just the other day, Martin was kind of overweight, balding, looked like his dad, but like I said, was overweight and balding. But Dexter was like 6'2", was kind of a pretty boy and had the name. He's since passed away. I don't think he lived to be 65 years old because he was a little bit older than I am. But I don't know why I get into my jailhouse experiences. But I guess because we don't have a guest. What do you got on the board?
49 Larry is timed in.
Oh, God. Do we really? Is that the only text you have, or does this just amuse you to read these things?
It just kind of amuses me.
All right, go ahead. Indulge yourself.
It shows if you have money or connections in Bakersfield, you are above the law, thanks to the DA who refused to call the Tehachapi Police Department by calling their local number. Instead, she called her friend, the sheriff of Bakersfield, Too bad Barney didn't answer.
You know, Larry, you're banned from this show. How many times do I have to ban you? You're an idiot. What would have happened differently had the Tehachapi police been involved? Would the AG's decision been different had the Tehachapi police been involved? Would they have sent down a different attorney to battle H.A. Sala if the Tehachapi police had been initially involved? If Cynthia Zimmer had called 911, the call would have eventually gotten to Sheriff Donnie Youngblood. And given who was involved, I'm pretty sure. And you know what? If it had been John Smith, the sheriff, who's been on the show and explained all this to everybody, his people would have shown up anyway. The disaster in this case begins with Sacramento. That's what's so ironic and strange about Cynthia Zimmer's decision with the Open Door Network, because she could have walked away from this thing. Now, I'm exaggerating because, no, she really couldn't have. The stench of nepotism is going to remain over this thing, even though technically she did nothing wrong. She did absolutely nothing wrong. The Kern County DA's office had nothing to do with this. Now, I know there's some that believe that maybe she had Rob Bonta's ear. Maybe. No one can prove that. But this nonsense with the Open Door Network is a clear brazen attempt at revenge, in my opinion. She didn't like that Lauren was being vocal about her nephew. She had her flunky, Ken Russell, come up with this situation where she's allegedly involved in speaking out about other cases. What other cases? Why don't they cite the cases? Why hasn't this DA come out and had a news conference and explained who the new provider is, what advantages the new provider has over the open door network? Walk us through how this decision was made, who was involved. But they're not going to answer these questions. They're going to run this through this Daniela Gonzaga, and she's going to say there's more information to come. And they're just going to pray that you all forget about it by 2028. Well, again, I will redundantly say this for the next couple of days and perhaps weeks. They have no idea what domino they've kicked over. They have no idea what sequence of events are about to follow. I really don't think they do. And if they do, I don't think they give a damn. I didn't realize that she's out in 28. She may run in 28. She may go through the theory, because think about it if you're Cynthia Zimmer, a very social, very well-known woman. Do you really think in the circles that she hangs out with, people are giving her grief? She thinks this is going to pass. I thought she was up for re-election, to be honest with you, in 27 for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if that's old age and THC or both, but for some reason I thought she was up next year. But if she's not up until 28, yeah, she's going to think that this will fade away at some point, and it just won't. I've been here 32 years, and this is one of the biggest cases of unanimity I've ever seen in this community, where 9 people out of 10, and that one person probably related to the Scribners, think that this is an entirely miscarriage of justice. And I think wrongly, many of those people think that the miscarriage of justice begins on Truxton, which is not true. I think if the DA had been more open about this and more vocal about it and explained her situation in this, and maybe walked us through why she called the sheriff that day and just explained, look, some of you have relatives. I panicked. There was talk of my nephew around children with a gun. You damn right I called the sheriff. I would respect that. I would have said, you damn right, I probably would have done the same thing. I've got Johnny's number right here. If Thaddeus came up to visit me this weekend and he got into a scrape and was in bad shape, you don't think I'd pick up this phone and call Donnie Youngblood? You damn right I would. But on Monday, I'd come in here and talk into this microphone and explain to you why I did it. And if she did that, it might have had a whole different perception. But this whole thing has been cloaked in kind of secrecy and no comment, and we'll have further information down the road, and all this just typical obfuscating. And what do we say? What do we say? What's the one thing that I want you to learn? If there's anything that you take away from this show that you listen to this idiot from, it's never the error you make. It's never, ever. Because if that were so, we'd all be screwed because we're all flawed. But it's how you handle the error, or even the perception of an error. It's how you handle it. It's the theme criticism of Epic Fury. This is a righteous operation. This is a center of exportation of terrorism that has haunted the world, and in particular the United States, since I was a junior in high school, and I'm 63 years old. But people are scared and concerned because there are different messages coming out of the White House. First it's a war, now it's an excursion. I'm talking, the D word was brought up the other day, the draft. First, there's no boots on the ground. Now Trump is saying, I don't give a damn what other presidents say. I'm not afraid of putting boots on the ground, which I have defended. We've put boots on the ground, as we talked about on Monday. How the hell do you think we killed Osama bin Laden? By air attack? No. We flew a couple of helicopters in, and some very brave Navy SEALs climbed down a rope and put their boots on the ground, found his sorry ass, and shot him in his compound with their boots on the ground. So stop this nonsense and stop this liberal-minded belief that this is Vietnam, that somehow there are going to be hundreds of thousands of troops. There may be boots on the ground, but it'll never be in what we perceive. It'll be small militia groups working with the Israelis, trying to find uranium, trying to truly end their entire nuclear infrastructure. But it has to be straight. You can't do the Trump. You can't exaggerate. You can't lie. You can't say, I don't know anything about the school building that was shot down by a tomahawk because the Iranians may have tomahawks, when everybody knows the Iranians don't have tomahawks. When everybody knew the first time that it was reported that that school was hit, that we did it. And as I said about the other day, this isn't the first time or the first administration that's tried to lie its way out of friendly fire. Remember Pete Tillman, the former football player, who was a Navy, I believe he was a Navy SEAL or a Ranger, and they tried to say it wasn't us. And then the family got involved and friends got involved, and they finally had to concede, yeah, the United States of America killed Pete Tillman. And it happens. And things like what happened at the school happens. It happens. And unfortunately, we've got two Americas, so the liberal media loves that it happens because this is fuel to attack Trump. They're actually rooting for disaster and epic fury, actually rooting for it. They really, truly are. And it doesn't get any more un-American and more unpatriotic than that. Really, really, it's sad. Quick time out. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about in just a matter of minutes. Lauren Skidmore live in studio. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. Anything? What?
Messmaker.
Yeah, play it.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Fridays
Burping up
on
garlic.
Strong and Getty Show, the whole world is keeping its eye on the Strait of Hormuz. How is that going to turn out? Are we going to escort oil tankers through that strait?
And as if our minds weren't already blown by AI, how AI turns evil is a new study in the world of science. Study it hard, figure it out quick. That in the news of the day, of course, on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
One of the highlights of this radio broadcast appears on Thursdays at 4:30. Our money man, Daniel Petrie with Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. You all know by now what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. You know that I've turned on staff members who are extremely happy with being a client with Daniel. And I've told you, I've been a client for almost a decade now, and it is the single most important and smartest financial move I have ever made. If you're staring at retirement late in life and you're in the fourth quarter, call Daniel, 395-9400, 395-9400. Just keep it locked. Tune in every Thursday at 4:30 when it appears on the broadcast. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Inc., DBA Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
How can you grow your business from idea to industry leader? With smart business buying tools and technology from Amazon Business. From fast, free shipping to in-depth buying insights and automated purchase approvals, we deliver everything you need. Go to AmazonBusiness.com for support.
Even if you've given up on your New Year's resolutions, one health habit that's easy to keep is Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Walgreens, and now GNC.
Last week, there was the Paul Sheldon sighting. Kind of rare and very exciting. Everyone asking, where has he been? Of course, his clients weren't worried.
I cannot lift that.
Even when Paul in person was
without
there,
decapitating Reggie Smith.
Kelly, and Lynn. The grandkids like to play,
Poor Reggie.
Where's Waldo? Granddad's asking, Hey,
I chop his
where
head
it
off
all
every
goes.
day.
Just games that are fun to win. But when push comes to shove and the day is done, we know it's covered, so it's all in fun. Because there's Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. Over the years, so many have said it. The guy's a genius. Gotta give the man credit. He put it together way back then. Brought along those 3 Medicare pros, who of course by now everyone knows are Christine, Kelly, and Lynn.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Swaying, and the band's playing. From way back when, song. Mr. Tri, the news director at Channel 17, has forwarded me Connor Doerr's story on the response from the district attorney's office. I'll just read. I haven't even read this. I'll read this. A dispute between the Kern County District Attorney's Office and the Open Door Network has devolved into a social media firestorm that includes name calling and condemnation of the prosecutor's actions. The District Attorney's Office said the Open Door Network CEO Lauren Skidmore values publicity over ethics. Wow. They're calling her unethical. Wow. On Wednesday, social media was filled with calls for District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer be recalled from office. Did I not say that this is a new day and that they have no idea what kind of Pandora's box they've opened, have no idea what kind of domino they just kicked over? And I didn't say that until Mr. Turnipseed informed me that she's not up until 2028. On Wednesday, social media was filled with calls of District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer be recalled from office. After 2 days, Zimmer's office responded, quote, the District Attorney's Office will not allow unethical conduct by nonprofit partners who value publicity over ethical prosecution to jeopardize the most serious cases we prosecute. This now from another assistant DA, nothing from Cynthia Zimmer. She's having all her flunkies handle it. This is from Assistant District Attorney Joseph Kinzel, talking to 17 News. Kinzel said Zimmer is unavailable to comment because Zimmer is focusing on a jury trial. That's what we want our top DE. We want our top cop in court. And all the other assistants available for comment. But the DA is in court. And you wonder why I call it Mayberry. You mentioned Nate Hochman. The LA Times is looking for the DA of LA. And one of the assistant DAs says, I'm sorry, he's in a trial right now. Okay. All right. Fine. Whatever. The Open Door Network's CEO, Lauren Skidmore, is perhaps the most outspoken victims advocate in Kern County. She's spoken publicly on the most grim crimes, including human trafficking and murder. Yes. Whoever just texted me, yes. The answer is yes. The lack of professionalism and refusal, this is a direct quote from the DA's office. The lack of professionalism and refusal to take direction on appropriate ethical conduct exhibited by Ms. Skidmore, combined with the existence of more comprehensive alternatives that will better serve victims, factored into the decision to seek new partnership for the Family Justice Center, a statement from the DA's office. Skidmore stood up for the alleged child victims in the Zach Scrivener case. District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer is Zach Scrivener's aunt. Scrivener is accused of touching his preteen daughter inappropriately, but was charged only with child abuse and assault weapon felonies by the California Attorney General's office. Skidmore responded to the district attorney's statement last Thursday afternoon to 17 News, quote, we've reviewed the Kern County DA's statement. Our mission is clear, support victims. We'll keep doing exactly that at our downtown office, 1921 19th Street. And again, In about 3 minutes, the aforementioned Lauren Skidmore will join us live in studio. Oh boy, this is a peculiar town, isn't it, folks? They have no idea what Pandora's box they have opened, what beehive they just took a baseball bat to. It's incredible. I'm telling you, I'm going to open up a consulting firm and just retire and make a fortune and tell people how to act and what to do. Quick time out. Lauren Skidmore is next.
This is AM 1180 KERN.
There she is.
96.1 FM.
The talk of Kern County.
News this hour.
I don't think so.
I
don't think this is going away for a while.
A man armed with a rifle rammed a vehicle into a major synagogue in a
Connor?
Detroit suburb and was fatally
Nice to
shot
meet you.
by security.
Come on in.
The FBI says it was a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard tells reporters the suspect is dead and no one else was badly hurt in the attack on that synagogue in West Bloomfield,
Did you hear
Michigan.
what she told 17?
Staff was injured whatsoever. Okay? So we have no victims other than
Yeah, it was
one of
the assistant. It was Kinzel.
Was hit
Called
by
you
the
unethical.
car and was taken to the hospital.
I mean, they're raising the stakes on this
That
thing.
individual should be okay.
And now people on
Bouchard says
Facebook
the
are already
security
talking about
officer was
recall.
knocked unconscious and 30 law enforcement officers were treated for
Because I thought she
smoke
was up.
inhalation.
I didn't know until
The
we talked
FBI
to
says ROTC
Turnipseed
students
about an
subdued
hour
and
ago.
killed a gunman
She's
who
not up
yelled
until
Allahu
28.
Akbar before opening fire Thursday.
He just
in
said he
Old
talked to
Dominion
people
University
in the know
classroom.
and attorneys
The
that
FBI says
said
the
that there was
suspect
nothing in the
was
file
killed
about any problems they had with
and
you,
one person
any
was
problems they had with the
injured
Open Door
and
Network.
as
There
were
was
two
no,
others at
build up to this.
ODU
Just
on
this letter that you
Thursday.
sent me. Was this the first
suspect
letter
has
you
been
got in September
identified by
25?
authorities as
When was the
Mohammed
next
Taylor
one? When
Jello,
did you
who
get the?
pleaded guilty in 2016
So now Turnipseed
to
saying they
attempting to
violated the
provide
contract.
material
Did
support
they have
to
to
the
give you a
Islamic
30-day
State.
notice as of before
Oil
December?
prices continued to
He's saying it had to
skyrocket.
have been before
Analyst
December.
Jessica Caldwell says the rise in oil prices is not uncommon in these situations.
We saw the same thing in 2012 when Ukraine invaded.
Are you going to try
when
to fight
Russia
it?
invaded Ukraine, rather.
Why not?
Iran's attacks came as American and Israeli strikes pounded Iran with no sign of an end to the war in sight. I'm Karen Shamas.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 739 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
A Social Security
Yeah, I
update.
talked to Lewis.
70 million Americans collect Social Security benefits
That's what
today,
he said.
and millions more will join soon. Now, a new study finds 70% of Americans don't get the full benefits they deserve. But recipients can use simple strategies to
Lord.
boost Social Security benefits by as much as $188,000 over a lifetime. Social Security expert Michael Allen says it's true and reveals 5 key strategies to increase your benefits. It's all in his free special report. Newsmax calls the report your best guide for bigger Social Security benefits. Whether you're getting benefits or soon will, you need the Social Security report. Get it free. Call 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. We'll text it to you right away, along with President Trump's act cutting your Social Security taxes. Call now, 800-999-9690. 800-999-9690. Text and data rates may apply.
Yeah, when I first, the
From the
reason I called
KERN newsroom, your live and local news
I thought you
update
got
on
fired.
News Talk
I thought you got fired from the Open
96.1
Door
and
Network.
AM 1180.
So I didn't want to call you,
KERN.
thinking you're off getting drunk, trying to find a new job. So I called her and I said, "Can you come on and talk about her getting whacked?"
Center just before
And she goes,
6:30
"Well,
Wednesday evening.
I didn't
A
understand what
boat
she's
had
talking about."
capsized, and 4
And then
people
4
were
or
holding
5
on to it and
listeners
needed help.
text me on
On
Facebook.
top of that, they were drifting
and, like,
because of the wind.
and sent me
The Kern County
story
Sheriff's Office
itself.
got a
'Cause it was
chopper.
already
The lake
17.
eventually
By the
finding
time I
the
got
group
home,
still holding on.
I didn't even know that,
Once
so I
they were
went back
found,
because I
getting them out of the
DVR.
water was no problem. One of them was hurt and had to be taken to the hospital.
Well, it is
14 people busted in Oildale in a raid by the Kern County
It's like the
Sheriff's
TV
Office.
term.
They
didn't
say this
renew
went
your
down
contract.
Monday, and it was meant to clear
That's how
out
they
the
whacked
area,
me.
and
We're
that
not
they
renewing your
did, bringing
contract.
along code
Well, that's
enforcement
fine.
and
I'm
clearing
out of a
lots
job.
of debris and waste and finding some copper wire. 8 of those arrests were felonies, say deputies. A man who was on probation
this
had
is gonna
several guns
linger
and
for a
ammo
while,
when
I do
probation
believe.
officers searched his house on Packard
somebody's gonna
Drive in
start a
Arbin,
recall
say officers,
attempt.
landing Peter Marino
'Cause I
back in
think
the slammer on charges of being a
average
felon, in
viewer
possession of a
thinks that she
firearm,
has something
possession
to
of
do with
ammunition
what the
by a
AG's
prohibited person, and gang
Which, in fact,
participation,
they had
along
nothing
with
to
several
do
other
other than
firearm-related charges.
maybe there's some.
Saturday from 8 to noon, you'll be able to get rid of bulky
Clayton
items
Campbell
that
always
are
likes to
clogging
point
up
out
your
to me
house
that,
and
hey,
your life.
she's Republican,
The bulky
Bob's
item
a
drop-off
Democrat,
event
by the
will be
way,
on
you do me a
Panorama
favor.
Drive. Some of the
I said,
items
because
they
they're all
will
part of the
take:
same entitled,
sofas, love seats, chairs, tables,
kind of,
desks, shelving
you know,
units, mattresses, bed frames, washers, dryers, stoves, microwaves, lawn chairs, patio furniture, grills, kiddie pools.
Solid.
Some they will not take: tires, construction, demolition materials, remodeling materials, and household
if for no other reason,
hazardous waste
financially.
like oil, paint, and bleach.
I mean,
I'm Chris
they
Davis
must
in the
have spent at
KERN
least
newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180.
I know.
KERN.
I know his retainer is like 50 grand.
It's the Army where you shoot them a mile away. You gotta get a post like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Thursday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. Still lots to do. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we will pivot. It is day one at the Players' Championship, considered the fifth major in the PGA Tour. And there are a couple of on top. Rory McIlroy is having some problems with his back and having problems on the course. We'll get into that a little bit at the bottom of the hour. I've got an honor flight story. Just 8 days before our fourth annual Honor Flight Open. We'll be out at Bakersfield Country Club playing golf, trying to raise money for our veterans. Send them back to Washington as part of Honor Flight. But there's a great story out of Florida. Now, this is the first time I've ever seen this. They're doing a all-women's Honor Flight. That's pretty cool. I'll tell you the story about that. But in the meantime, as those of you who are subscribing on YouTube can see, the executive director of the Open Door Network, Lauren Skidmore, has joined us live in studio. Lauren, thanks again for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
I will give you the floor to open up. Any statement you'd like to make just to get us going?
Oh, you want me to make any more
ad-lib.
additional?
Yes. From the heart. What's going on with you right now?
Yeah, it's been a busy week. We received notice last week that the Open Door Network would have a termination of agreement with Family Justice Center. And, I sat on it for a few days, kind of sat with it over the weekend. We finally had to send a statement out to staff and to our partners to let them know, unfortunately, we will no longer be operating at the Family Justice Center. We will provide updates, in the next coming weeks about what the referral strategy will look like, about what you all can do when a victim walks into your door and how to get them to us. And then I think news started coming out. And so I, had to go on KGT and make a statement and talk through what actually happened. But for me, the biggest concern after sitting with it a little bit is that victims are going to have a gap in services.
Yeah.
And they can claim that there will be a new service provider, and I hope that is a service provider that has as much experience and expertise and training as we do.
How is that possible?
Well, I mean, unless they're out of town, and
Exactly.
and
Unless they're out of Kern County.
right. And so I have described this to a little bit. This gets a little in the weeds, but we are the only rape crisis center that supports Kern County. Women's Center High Desert does have some similar designation and similar experience, but they're not doing it. I talked to them.
Exactly.
This is, yes, you can provide supportive services. Yes, you can provide case management, but we have the emergency shelter. We have the training. We have the legal authority to be able to advocate on behalf of victims because of our grants, because of our funding, because of our trainings. And it's going to be problematic. So I'm speaking out.
Fortunately, we have a little more time than the TV folks, so let's go through this step by step.
Okay.
How did this whole thing start? You sent me a letter that you received from Ken Russell, one of the assistant DAs, back in September of 2025, when he basically told you to be quiet. saying the prosecutors and the people associated with prosecuting cases have very high ethical standards regarding pretrial statements, and I'm concerned that your comments about pending criminal cases could be attributed to the assigned prosecutor or the Kern County DA's office. Such a finding could result in a change of venue, the recusal of our office, or dismissal of the case.
Mm-hmm.
Do you truly believe that this is about cases and the bigger picture, or do you agree with me? This is exclusively and 100,000% about Zach Scrivener and your relationship with his estranged wife and support for her and their 4 children.
That letter, apparently, I'm not the only one that's received a similar letter. So I've had some folks reach out that do advocacy work, and they have said that the district attorney's office has also sat them down and had similar conversations. They unfortunately are not interested in coming forward because they're concerned that their victims will not be heard in court. So I'm kind of the Lone Ranger out here right now. But that came back in September. I didn't really think anything of it. I thought this is an unfair assessment because if you look at the backup documentation, my quotes are very vague in nature. That is what we are trained to do as advocates. We can talk about cases in terms of what caused this type of behavior. You know, what one of the quotes is about what human traffickers look for in their victims, how they entice them to become a victim. The other comment was on the horrendous nature of the Genesis Mata case. None of it pertained to this is what they found on scene. This is what, you know, is private information that maybe none of that is the case. So, I mean, I took that letter and thought this is a really unfair assessment. Like, give me some actual statements that was compromising of a case.
Or cases that you were involved in
Right.
and made statements about.
Right. And that is also the reason why the CEO does not do direct work with clients. That is why I don't sit in with any type of client case management because I am the spokesperson. I am removed from the details of most cases. The only case I am involved with is the Scrivener case, and that is because it is such a high-profile case that it was too difficult to have staff so engaged when there was going to be so many media questions and so many questions around politics and policy. So I am there as a support system. I am there as an advocate, and you know that letter came many, many months ago. We had conversations kind of internally about it. Then this letter came last week, and it was a shock because there was not a connection from that letter to this letter. I had no idea that at that time, maybe they were trying to give me warning that it would compromise our work with the Family Justice Center.
No, they were trying to establish a paper trail so that when they did what they did, they could come back and say, look, we warned her and she wouldn't listen to us and she forced our hand. And now, since you've spoken out to KGT, they've upped the ante. I don't know if you've seen this, Mr. Try, he just sent this to me. In fact, it's the gentleman in the studio. It's his writing where they've upped the ante, and I'm quoting them. The district attorney's office will not allow unethical conduct by nonprofit partners who value publicity over ethical prosecution to jeopardize the most serious cases we prosecute. They're calling you unethical, and they're saying that you have put in jeopardy cases, although they won't cite what cases, they won't quote you, they won't provide any evidence, but they're willing to smear your reputation and the reputation of the Open Door Network.
It's a strategy, I would imagine. You know, we care about victims. We didn't care about some of the tensions that would exist amongst the collaborative environment. We have a different way that we treat our clients than maybe a government entity, a legal entity. There's always been these tensions amongst the collaborative partnership. That's healthy. But what stopped being healthy is when they now are creating dialogue to make us as though we aren't doing our job. And that is never the case. And we will continue to do our job in a new location. We will continue to provide the same services we have, and we'll continue to be the voice for victims, whether or not they want to stop us in speaking up and providing awareness to major issues and major victimizations.
Do you have any intention? We're talking with Lauren Skidmore, the CEO of the Open Door Network, regarding contract being dismissed by the DA's office. Have you any intention to examine legal options?
I don't think at this time, because in the grand scheme, it doesn't matter. We are going to continue to provide the same service to victims just at our downtown office. That's all I care about.
What about the contract itself? Mr. Turnipseed, the executive director of the Current Tax, called in earlier, as he does every Thursday, and said that they should have notified you back in 25 of the year.
Well, the letter was backdated, so maybe that's the reason.
Meaning, what do you mean by backdated?
So in the letter that they sent me to terminate the agreement, they dated it November 2025, but
And
yet
you received it.
It was postmarked February 27th, 26.
That would seem like a legal lane that you should examine. I don't mean to be giving you advice, but good Googling.
Yeah. I'm a nonprofit. I don't really have a line item for much legal expenses. So.
Oh, I'm pretty sure the community would rally to your aid if you needed financial assistance. What about you personally? Questioning your ethics, saying that you put cases in jeopardy? Aren't you curious as to what they're alluding to, and you don't want to follow that up legally?
I'm pretty confident that I am not an unethical person. So, that's sure. If my board is interested in looking into it, if we're interested in having deeper conversations around the agreement and whether or not, their statements
are libelous,
yes, then maybe. But at this point, those things don't bother. This is all noise. Their response to media that was, 3,000 words, something ridiculous, that is just noise. And all they are doing is trying to take this out of the limelight against them and try to redirect it. And I don't think the community is going to fall for it.
Exactly. And that's why I think you should fight it. Again, I don't mean to give you advice, and particularly on the air and possibly on television, but I think that's why you have a duty to fight this, because you're exactly right. They're bullying you into shut up and not to do this in the future, and threatening you by besmirching your reputation, which is absolutely, flawless as far as I know. And there's no record of any problem between the Open Door Network and the DA's office. Mr. Turnipseed was our source on that, where he talked to people in the office. And I've got a woman who used to work in the office who was sending me things, and I've asked her if I can read them on the air. I haven't looked and see if she's returned it. But
I have received, I can't even begin to explain the dozens of messages that I've received from prior employees stating that there has been so much fear of retaliation in that office, and there has been individuals that have experienced direct retaliation, and that this is not uncommon. And most people, when they have responded to me, especially last night, they said, "We are really proud of your words. Be careful."
Yeah, this is exactly what this woman was telling me.
And be careful. Look, my husband's a prior police officer. I live on a ranch. Okay. If you want to try to take and spear my personal reputation through the mud, then so be it. But there is not a lot there. And me missing a meeting that never was committed to by me, that was never confirmed by myself, I'm not going to go tit for tat with them on what really occurred, what didn't, what the interpretation of the law is and what isn't. The standards that they're talking about.
Let me stop you right there. What is it? What is that in reference to? What meeting are you talking about?
In the statement back from the district attorney's office back to media, they talk about a meeting in which they scheduled with me that I no-showed. And basically what happened is the secretary called. She asked me for a meeting. I said, "In what case is this referencing to?" She said, "I don't know." And I said, "Well, until you tell me what case I'm coming in to talk about, I can't prepare for this."
When
meeting.
was this?
This was in September. And this was
of 25.
This was in regards to the letter. So basically what somebody has told me is they called them in for the meeting, they present them with this letter, and then they go over media statements that were problematic. And they do it in person. And I didn't show up to my meeting, so they mailed me the letter, which is great because I would have been really caught off guard showing up to that meeting, not having, any attorney guidance, not having, I'm not an attorney. I have no understanding of legal ethical standards for attorneys. So I would have sat in this meeting and said, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
Right.
And
a letter that you received postmarked in February, correct?
separate letter for the termination, yes. But I'm talking about that letter where it talks about do not talk to media because of these reasons.
And again, I'm sorry, but it was the date on here is September. And when did you receive it?
So that letter I received in September.
Okay.
There's a meeting that the DA's office alludes to that I missed. That was this meeting in September. So instead of having the physical meeting, they sent me this letter.
Okay.
But then now flash forward to last week. That's
The
a separate
termination
letter. That's
letter.
the termination letter.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Very good. Any final thoughts before I let you go?
You know, Open Door Network is an amazing organization. We support thousands of victims every single year. It's unfortunate that we can't do it in a collaborative environment, but the truth always comes to light, and we'll be there for the victims no matter what.
Any idea who this new provider is that's somehow going to lap the field on what you all have done in the last 8 years?
We have no idea. We have not been given any information, and we hope that they have chosen an organization that actually knows what they're doing.
Yeah, and I find it fascinating that they found this superior organization, and yet they're not releasing the name of this superior organization that's going to do more work than you all have done in 8 years, which of course is nonsense.
Right.
Absolute nonsense.
8 years with the Family Justice Center, but we've been doing this work for about 40.
For a long year. Yeah, yeah, much longer than that. You're right. I'm just talking about the relationship with the Justice Center. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry that you have to live through this, but you should fight, girly.
Yeah.
You should fight.
Yep.
I know you don't want to fight for you, but you should fight so this kind of bullying doesn't happen again. Because that's all it is. It's absolute bullying. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ralph.
Lauren Skidmore, quick time out. We'll wrap this thing up. We've still got lots to do. We'll get into some sports. I've got some Honor Flight news, and unfortunately, we're sold out. Honor Flight Open, sold out. Can't play. Although we will be auctioning off a twosome that I'm playing in, so stand by for that. In the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. Sweet, thank you.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Yep.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Are you serious right now? You certainly don't go by first lady. You choose first partner. And you're going to talk to
Plus 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Every day is sale day.
If
You owe back taxes? Listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today.
Are you getting any phone calls?
Call 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599.
I can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
I said yes and no. Why?
Yeah, because Kelly said she called in, but she can't get in.
I didn't see one.
I'll tell you.
We're coming back.
Okay.
Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Have her call right now.
I am. Look out, baby, because here I come. Get ready. Our phone number 842-5376, 842-KERN. I'm assuming we have a few text messages.
Yes.
What do you got?
Let's see. I want to get the ones at the top here first, just because I figured they're actually about the topic.
Right.
JD's chimed in.
What's up, JD?
Ralph, I've been saying this for years. Don't commit a felony to cover up a misdemeanor. I'm always amazed how many people fail this test.
I agree. I'm afraid not mention I was a supervisor. She would be able to figure out what. Oh, Jesus. I have somebody who has sent me numerous text messages. She's a former employee of the county. That's all I can say. And let me just read what she sent me. As you are looking at the DA being vindictive, you really should look at the mass exodus of personnel from the office and the multiple people who have filed complaints with the county over the treatment they have received at the hands of Cindy Zimmer and her administration. Sadly, many who have left are scared to talk because she can't let go, even reaching out to former employees' next employer to complain about Facebook posts, conversations, etc. She has sabotaged job offers for people who have left, decreed that no references will be provided by the line supervisors, as all must go through her and arm-twisted county departments to make life difficult for people who have transferred out of the DA's office. It is truly astonishing that lengths she has gone to in trying to punish people who dedicated their life to helping victims and then decided to move on for whatever reason. It will be difficult to get people who stayed local after leaving to talk because the legal market is small, and even if your new employer knows she is creating problems, she is too powerful to be ignored. I would be more than happy to point you in some good directions if you want to look into this. The public would be astonished to realize that she has had more than 100% turnover since coming into office and having lost the vast majority of the support she had in the office at the time of her election. It is also worth noting that the county is required to provide First Amendment training to key personnel because of Scrivener's actions that violated the First Amendment rights of nonprofit. Apparently, his aunt Cindy didn't pay attention in her class. Wow. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got?
A lot of people are texting Pat Tillman.
Oh, what was I saying?
I'm not sure if we were saying.
I must have screwed up his last name if they're screaming Pat Tillman.
Well, this one says Pat. So I'm assuming you meant.
Oh, I think I said Pete.
Pete Tillman.
I think I said Pete. Thank you, guys. I think I said Pete Tillman.
And then Kelly's on the line as well.
I really need to stop smoking weed. I really do. Kelly, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Hey, Ralph, how are you?
I'm outstanding. How are you, girlie? I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know. It seems we're only friends when there's scandal.
That's funny.
It brings back confused.
Yes,
days.
I remember those days vividly. So what's going on?
So I just had a couple questions.
Well, you know what? Can you hang on?
Absolutely.
Because I've got a hard break in about 90 seconds, and I don't want to have to cut you off. So hang on. Let us take a break, and you got carte blanche.
Okay.
All right, hang on. Don't go anywhere. All right, we will take a quick time out. We've got some text messages to read. Our friend Kelly is on hold as we head into the back half of the last half hour of the broadcast. Tomorrow's a Friday. Rick Bentley will be here, and we'll get you updated on the second round of the Players' Championship, considered the 5th major on the PGA Tour. The latest on the Iranian situation, and I wouldn't be surprised if this whole DA Open Door Network situation changes by 3:05 tomorrow, so we'll have the latest for you on that tomorrow as well. Quick time out. We'll come back, take some phone calls, read some text messages, and wrap up the broadcast on this Thursday afternoon. A beautiful, gorgeous afternoon. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM.
I bet we get 400 views today. You Addy?
With SRN News, I'm Pete Peters in Washington. A man armed with a rifle rammed a vehicle into a major synagogue in a Detroit suburb and was fatally shot by security. The vehicle caught on fire after crashing into the Temple Israel Synagogue in West Bloomfield Township. The FBI considered the crime a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community. An American military refueling plane has gone down in Iraq and rescue efforts are underway. U.S. Central Command said Thursday that the KC-135 aircraft is part of the operation against Iran, but the crash isn't due to hostile fire or friendly fire. The military says 2 aircraft were involved and that one landed safely and the other went down in western Iraq. It described the latter as a loss. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. An adventure on Isabella Lake last night about 6:30 when 911 calls came in about a boat possibly sinking and 4 people holding on to it in the water. That's exactly what a rescue team from the Kern County Sheriff's Department found when they searched the lake from the air and spotted the group. They were pulled to safety with 1 person hurt. Convicted felon Peter Moreno of Arvin went back to the slammer after a search of his house by probation officers turned up a rifle, a pistol, and the ammo, say those officers. He's now facing a list of charges, one being a felon with a firearm. A bulky item drop-off event is planned from 8 to noon Saturday on Panorama Drive if you have things to get rid of. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card.
Yeah.
One of the rarest.
All
the last
on
one I used
Pfizer.
for my set. Shiny like the...
Designer handbag of
I know.
dreams. One
They
of a
stay in
kind.
places
They
like,
had it.
you
Now
know, the
everyone's
Aria.
got it.
You can stay wherever you want. He's got an account. Exactly. I know.
Beautiful.
And he's making probably
Millions of
2.
finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks?
$182.
Amazon Business.
Yep,
Smart
yep.
business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your
for the
future.
doctor's
Learn more at
offices.
AmazonBusiness.com.
That's how they schmooze those offices. They come in with food and
One health habit that's easy to keep. Get Active Liver from New Nordic. Active Liver protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Walgreens, and now GNC.
We've all been
Hey,
there.
do you have variation number?
Nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, yes, it's Friday. We have to talk about drones that may or may not be able to reach California. We'll find out together. We got news, we got traffic, we got weather, and we got 3 hours to get it done. 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the information superhighway at kernradio.com.
Yeah.
to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
She said she'd never hurt me.
The Monkeys!
Broke my heart.
842-537-6842 KERN. If you missed our interview with Lauren Skidmore, just go to YouTube. And this is important because a lot of people, and I don't mind you watching the entire show, the whole 3 hours. Just go to YouTube, punch in Ralph Bailey, and you should see a picture of me dressed like this. I'm in all black with my honor flight pin on my collar. So look for that. And you don't have to listen to the whole show. There should be on the bottom of the screen that pops up on YouTube, a little red button on the bottom. If you just drag that to the last hour of the show, you can pick it up at 5 o'clock and hear the entire interview that we did with Lauren Skidmore. And for those of you who are watching, I don't know if you noticed my allusion to Connor Dorr, a reporter for KGT. So it'll be on the 6 o'clock news in about a half an hour. In the meantime, our good friend Kelly is hanging on the phone. Let's bring her back in here. Kelly, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right. Thanks for hanging on. I got your picture. That's fun.
I think we should probably spend a 4-hour show and follow the money, honey.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. What are your thoughts about this whole mess?
I think it's a little bit of pay to play and a little bit of political retaliation.
Yeah. Expound on that. What do you mean by pay to play?
Who's paying for Scribner's legal defense?
I have no idea, but I could make a pretty good guess, but I will fail to do so. But I have a pretty good idea.
So I could probably guess right along with you.
Yeah.
So that would be a question. How is that money, was it declared on any form?
That's another great question.
Somebody else was given that money. Where's that Scribner working now? It's been alleged that he's working at a medical group or a hospital. Has anyone followed through with that?
I have no knowledge of that. No knowledge
There's so
whatsoever.
many questions, Ralph.
Yeah. But today we're kind of focusing on the situation with the Open Door Network and
So
what
if you
seems to
follow
be
the money, that same group, go back to the beginning. If you look at some of the photos that I sent, so Lauren is out. So who's going to replace him?
They have not stated. The DA's spokesman simply said that the center, the Family Justice Center, is excited. I'm reading now. Excited to welcome a new community partner and service provider in the near future. So it sounds like to me, to be blunt, they don't even know who it is. I don't think they've hired anybody because I would think if they had somebody already selected, they would have announced that. I don't think they've selected anybody. I really don't. But what do I know?
Unless they want to hold off to the last minute because of the pressure.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But I don't know. I don't know. You're right. There are just so many unanswered questions. I just know that the timing reeks of political revenge. And I honestly think that this is going to lead to a recall. I really do. I wasn't going to say it out loud, but I really believe that's what they have initiated. And I don't know if they realize that. I would assume they do because Cynthia is a very intelligent woman, or whether they just don't give a damn.
So if we go back a little while, remember we discussed this previously, the DOJ sued the county of Kern for wrongdoing in county contracts.
Right.
So with that, don't you think that they would do a little more due diligence and be concerned so the DA, do the rules apply differently?
I would not speculate on that. But it's a great question.
Right. And then as far as if we look at face value of the letter, it appears based upon me, again, I'm not an attorney, I'm just a mom, a wife, a grandma.
Right.
If you look at it, it seems like there's a cover-up. Look at the dates of the letter. Why is it backdated? Why did you backdate something?
That's a good question. But I am not in a position to speculate. I'm going to do my own little digging, and I'll have more to say about this come next week. But right now, I'm as much as in the dark as you are, Kelly, and as much as our listeners are. But
I remember quite a few years back. I think it was around, 2008?
Yeah.
I got a 500-page dossier, for lack of better words, dropped on my porch. Well, I have one now again.
Really? Regarding the DA's office?
Regarding a lot of stuff that goes on in Kern County. People are tired of the red, the blue, the ethics. We lack ethics. We no longer do the right thing. And as far as the homeless and the underserved and the underprivileged, look at the players that are playing in the game now versus the ones that were doing it before there was any federal, state, or county money involved.
Right.
Were they the same ones?
I do not know. But these are all great questions that should be looked at. And I'm sure some folks are going to be looking into it, if not me, and if not you, you know?
And why, if we look just at Facebook, why it seems, and it could be completely innocent, and again, I'm not making any accusations, I just have questions. I pretty much go to all the homeless and underserved projects from everyone. And I have never seen the district attorney's office at anything doing with psychiatric until a group that I sent you a photo of started participating. And shortly after that, there were donations to the Police Activities League. There were donations to other activities. It's so blatant.
Yeah, we're getting far afield now, Kelly. We're getting way off what we're talking about today. But I appreciate your call, and it's always great to talk to you. And if you've got any information with this, please feel free to contact me.
Yeah, I will. It really is all tied up with the same thing. It's Open Door Network. It's psychiatric. Who's going to take it?
Right. You're right. Okay. Thanks again, Kelly. Always good to hear from you.
Nice to talk to you, Ralph.
All right, girlie. Take care. 842-5376, 842-KERN. You got somebody else? What do you got on the board?
Let's see. There was no reason to engage in this war. Trump said, "Quit your whining. The United States is #1 oil producer, and we're making a lot of money."
Well, I've got a whole page of reasons why this war was initiated, and I've got some time here, although I just dropped my glasses and may have broken them. But you want to hear some of the reasons we are currently at war with the Iranians? I'll give you about, I don't know, maybe 19 or 20 reasons. Just stand by. I'll get there. Hold on. Just, I got some time here. Hang on. Let me get my glasses. And I will make the case, because the president won't. And I think that's one of his downfalls. But let's go in reverse order this time. Let's start in 24 with the plot to kill the president. Let's go back in 2022 when the IRGC killed a U.S. citizen. Let's go back to 2007 when the IRGC killed 5 U.S. soldiers. Let's go back to 2003 when 603 U.S. troops were killed by Iranians, backed by the Iranians. Let's go back to 1998, when Hezbollah planned the bombing the embassy at Kenya and Tanzania. Let's go back to 1996 when the IRGC struck into U.S. Air Force base in Saudi Arabia. Let's go back to 96 when Hamas, and I'm struggling to read my own scribble, suicide bomber blew up a bus in Jerusalem. 95, the Iranian-backed terrorist group killed Americans and Israel's in Gaza explosion in 95. In 89, Hezbollah killed a U.S. Marine in Lebanon. In 84, Hezbollah hijacked TWA Flight 847. In 1984, the CIA station chief was kidnapped and later tortured and killed in Beirut. 1983, a suicide car bomb and truck killed Marines in Beirut. In 1979, 66 dead at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, along with about 450 hostages who were never the same. They came home, thanks to Ronald Reagan, but some of them are still alive and have been recently interviewed. I saw one where they were talking about being beaten by hoses, beaten with yellow pages, something that Chris Burdick's never used, never even heard of, beaten with fruit, with a towel because it doesn't leave bruises, having their teeth knocked out, and coming home with PTSD. And so finally, there's a president who is willing to knock it off, to end the completion of a nuclear infrastructure that is being built around and surrounded by ballistic missiles that we have now taken out. Because if this doesn't happen, Iran becomes North Korea. How is that not understandable to every human being in North America? That if we let this go and just continue to mow the grass every couple of years, that Iran will be North Korea. Have you ever stopped and wondered, how the hell did North Korea get missiles? Because we didn't do enough to prevent it. And now this president, as awkwardly as this was rolled out, and no one has been a bigger critic of that than me. The war, excursion, the timing, we've won, saying we've won at day 12. I've been the biggest vocal voice saying Trump at this juncture can't be Trump. He can't be Trump. He can't exaggerate. He can't obfuscate. He can't lie. People's children are in harm's way. And for maybe one of the few times in his life, he's got to play this totally straight. Yes, we inadvertently and accidentally and unintentionally bombed a school in Tehran. 165 people were killed by a U.S. missile. Everybody that can hear my voice knows that's not who we are. This was not intentional. It was an accident of war. And if you know anything about war, this happens. It is incredibly unfortunate, but you know this isn't us. We are not Russia. We are not China. But there are casualties in war. There is shrapnel. There is, what is the phrase, Chris? I forget the phrase because I'm an old man. But there are casualties of war. There is a phrase when someone is impacted by the war itself. I just can't come up with it. And you were screaming at your radio, I'm sure. But the reality is the debate is over. We're there. We're trying to end this thing. What do you want us to do at this point? Walk away? We have to end this thing, and I think even take it further and control the Strait of Hormuz. Because now the Iranians are talking about shutting it down. They still have operating speedboats that are attacking ships. I believe 3 more cargo ships were attacked today. And I think it's our duty as Americans to stop this nuanced bullcrap that we've been doing for the last 30 years. I defend the soldiers. I just don't defend the conflict. That's a bunch of crap. They are one and the same. The conflict is the men and women who are going to fly those planes or perhaps put their boots on Iranian soil. And that's why Trump can't be Trump. That's why Trump has to play this as straight and as honest and as transparent as he possibly can. He cannot exaggerate. He cannot say things like, in day 11 yesterday, we won. That's a direct quote from the leader of the free world. He cannot do this. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the day. We'll try to read the many text messages you can hear I was getting during the break. And come wrap this thing up. We'll talk more about this whole situation tomorrow. I hope you'll tune in as well. Probably have some excerpts from our interview with Lauren Skidmore tomorrow as well. And again, for those that may have missed our 5 o'clock interview, just go to YouTube, punch in my name, Ralph Bailey, and pay attention to what I'm wearing. I'm in all black. I've got a Honor Flight polo on with a Honor Flight emblem on my collar. And that way you can tell. And plus the show is dated at the bottom. but it's much easier just to know what I'm wearing, and you can tell which episode it is. I'm in all black. And I look incredibly handsome. Well, I'm in all black. Quick timeout, wrapping this thing up. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. Tomorrow's a Friday. Rick Bentley will be here. We'll have more on the Players' Championship and more on this whole messy, weird situation. In the meantime, it's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. All right, let me read these text messages. Good googly moogly.
And AM 1180 KERN.
Friday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will take you into the weekend with the absolute latest on Iran, the price of oil and gas, and ongoing.
Whenever you're ready.
Three, two. The reality is the DA is a politician, and in politics, appearance and perception can be everything. And for her to disconnect the relationship between the DA's office and the Open Door Network at this time, right as Lauren Skidmore is championing Zach Scrivener's estranged wife and the 4 children that Zach abandoned, it looks incredibly funky. And I'm telling you, I would not be shocked if a recall for the DA's office is in the works. Where am I? Tomorrow? What do you got? Just Rick. I can't do Nick 3 days in a row. Yeah. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Friday TRBS. Well, it's a Friday, so Rick Bentley will be here, KGT entertainment reporter. Obviously, we'll have excerpts from our Thursday interview with Open Door Network CEO Lauren Skidmore, and the latest on the 5th major, the Players' Championship. All that, me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3.
Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Trying to catch up on the numerous text messages that I'm being inundated with from friends and concerned citizens who happen to have either my phone number or my Facebook message, because they can get in contact with me through Facebook. if you're a Facebook friend. Although I've been starting to edit my Facebook thing because I got to 5,000 and you couldn't add at that point. So I literally had to start taking out.
There's
people.
a way to do it, but I can't remember how.
I just go one by one and unfriend them. And I'm sorry.
I meant like to push past 5K.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I just have so many people on there that I've never met before in my life. So I'll just take them off. Let's read some text messages and get out of here.
Collateral damage, by the way.
Collateral damage. Thank you. Thank you.
That was the term you were looking for.
You see why I couldn't be on a game show? All the knowledge that I've amassed in 6 decades has seeped out of my THC-laden head. Or it's just old age I can't figure out, or maybe it's both. I'm voting on the latter. What else you got? Collateral damage. Yesterday, I couldn't come up with heat wave. Could not come up with the phrase heat wave. I'm not kidding. Mark Swain had to call in and tighten me up. What else you got?
Someone has tightened this up on the date on the YouTube. I will go in there and change it. Apparently, you put down it is 4/22.
No, I didn't.
That's what they're claiming right here. I'm double checking right now. You put 4/12, but yeah, you get the month wrong.
Oh, it's March.
Yeah, we're still in March, dog.
3/12.
We haven't even passed the honor flight.
Well, I think the whole week I've been pitting 4.
Have you really?
I think so.
Oh Lord. I know on your rundown you did the other day because I actually meant to tell you that.
In the rundown I put 4?
Yeah.
Then the whole week I put 4. January, February, March. I can't even count the months, let alone divide and add and subtract. I can't even count the months. My whole rundown this whole month has been 4. What else you got?
Zimmerman and Youngblood should have been fired.
Zimmer, by the way. Zimmer. Zimmer is her name. It's not Zimmerman.
Should have been fired for trying to cover up the Scrivener event by not calling 911 to get immediate response.
Okay, explain to me how that was a cover-up. Walk us through. Don't just throw out stupidity. If you're going to say something, see, this is how journalism works, or how it works when you write things. You kind of have to support your statement. I don't know if you ever went to high school, but when you were building a 5-paragraph essay, one of the functions of the paragraph was to support your thesis. So at the beginning of the paragraph, you would make a statement. Billy Budd was a horrible officer. And then you have the job to do in that paragraph to prove your point. You can't just make a statement without proving it in your essay. And then in the final paragraph, it's kind of a summation of your 3-paragraph argument, because the first paragraph is the introductory. This is what I'm going to argue. And then the 3 body paragraphs break down what you're going to argue and what your facts behind your argument are. And then the 5th paragraph is your summation of your entire argument. You just can't make a statement and throw it out there. So when you're ready to call the show, well, no, you're never going to call the show. But when you have the temerity to write in your mom's basement that Cynthia Zimmer did something wrong in connection with Zach Scrivener, then break it down. Explain exactly what she did wrong. She called a friend who happened to be in law enforcement. I think it's a little untoward, but it's not unethical. And the sheriff himself has given his blessing on that. And if you want Donnie Youngblood fired, you are the outlier. So I shouldn't even be giving you the time of day, because he's one of the finest sheriffs we've ever had serving our community. And as he addressed it on this very show, we had one of the most popular shows we've ever had in the 13 years I've been here. He explained that she did nothing wrong, that it would inevitably come back to him through the dispatcher's office, and then he would inevitably send his guys up there anyway. The crux of this lies with Rob Bonta. As a Democrat, you don't want to put this on the legislature in Sacramento. It's easy to just put this on Cynthia Zimmer. Now, what she's done today completely is separate from her performance before that, because she was completely innocent and not guilty of anything unethical or any wrongdoing. But now she's crossed the line, and she's attacked a young woman who is beloved in this community, who has long standings in this community. I know her father, who is a well-respected rancher in this community. And the fact of the matter is, I think they've kicked over a domino that's going to lead to a recall. I think that Kathy Scrivener's reputation in this town is done. She'll never be on that trustees board again. And Cynthia Zimmer, her sister, will never be elected dog catcher in this town again, particularly now after trying to besmirch the impeccable reputation of Lawrence Skidmore. Now Cynthia has gone from being speculated as someone who did something unethically to being a bully and being the bad guy. And I don't think she has any idea, because obviously in the circles in which she runs, you really think people are going to come up and challenge her? You really think the circles where she goes to dinner and the friends that she hangs out with are going to tell her, that was wrong what you did to that young woman? That was wrong, Cynthia. You really think she's getting that kind of feedback? Absolutely freaking not. Everybody in her little corner is rooting her on, and you did the right thing, and boop, bop, bop, bop. Okay, well, wait till that petition gets started. And it could be a freckle-faced radio talk show host who starts it and finishes it, because I got to go home. Want to thank Lauren Skidmore for joining us this afternoon, and thank the folks at 17. Check them out. They're about to go on the air right now, and our interview with Ms. Skidmore will be part of their newscast, and we'll have excerpts from the interview tomorrow when we get in here at 3:05. Also want to thank Mike Turnipseed, who contributed to this story much, and we'll have Mr. Petrie back next Thursday. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.
You know, it was a weird day. I didn't even touch my water. Didn't even touch my water. That's how weird a day it's been. Didn't even touch it. My head's been spinning since 10 o'clock this morning. Just a weird, weird day. Oh, fuck. God damn it. I did too. Yeah, we gotta treat him differently now. He's a fucking sponsor. He gets carte blanche now. God damn it, I totally forgot. Hey Siri, call Big Mike. Mike Big? Where you at, boy?